action ahead from South Ozone Park, New York, and Hot Springs, Arkansas. An Aqueduct to the Rego Park. G. Munning is the New York-bred 3-year-old to beat off a big debut. He was sharp early and pulled away from the competition when challenged down the stretch. At Oaklawn, a group of seasoned veterans take the stage in their feature where former Oaklawn Park Stakes winner and Grade 3 winner Night Ops tries to inch closer to the $1 million mark in career earnings. All that and more coming up on this edition of America's Day at the Races, presented by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Good to have you with us on FS2. Greg Wolf alongside the winningest jockey in the history of this racetrack. Good to see you, Richard Migliore.
Good to see you as well. Happy New Year. It's been a while, and jumping back in and hope to shake off a little ring rust. We got some great racing to help us through, that's for sure.
We do. In fact, the feature here in New York, it is the Rego Park, and a horse who I know John Kimmel is very high on. A lot was thought of this horse for the debut, and he lived up to that billing, G. Munning.
Very, very quick, broke very alertly on debut. Looked to me like he was playing around a little bit, looked like he was going to get a real challenge, and then he kind of found again, and you see, kind of get, bumped a little bit at the break, but he was sent along by Jose Ortiz, who is back aboard today. Jose Ortiz staying with us for the winter, and I think this is a quality colt. Like, at this point, I thought he got a little bit lost in the stretch, and then he reasserted himself. He felt the challenge from the outside, he dropped his head, and he kicked on again. And sometimes the horse gets lonely first time they're out there. One thing I also like, Greg, after this race, he jumped right back into the work tab, and he has not missed a beat. That tells me he came out of the race healthy and in good order.
Interesting you brought up the works, and you see him pull away from a horse, too, who came back to win with an 84 buyer there. But John Kimmel's been working him to be a little bit different here next time out. He's been working him from off the pace, trying to run down horses. So we're going to, interesting to see if we see that today, because he was forward in that debut.
Well, it's a good thing to prepare a horse for the potential of one day not being on the lead. As you face better and better horses, you're going to face more and more speed. You don't want to be dependent on one style, so it's good to kind of prepare a horse for a situation that could happen at some point. Now, my take on it would be, don't take anything away that comes easy to them. If they give you the lead, it's not broke, don't fix it. But if someone goes crazy, at least you have a little more confidence that he can handle the kickback and rally from a little off the pace.
See if he can make it 2 for 2. He's the 8-5 morning line favorite for John Kimmel. G. Munning. Jose Ortiz will ride in our Aqueduct feature, that Rego Park, for New York-bred 3-year-olds at 6.5 furlongs. Take a look at today's races presented by Claiborne Farm. Late Pick 4 is coming up next. Races 6 through 9. That 6th race will kick it off. That includes that Rego Park. It's that claiming race you briefly saw there. We'll get into it more in a moment. About 16 minutes away from the start of that sequence. Good and harrowed on the track here in New York. And races 4 through 9 all coming up in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn. Conditions there are muddy. Meanwhile, that feature at Oaklawn, some good veteran horses, including Night Ops, former stakes winner at the racetrack. Going to be the tough customer of one of many to beat in that race. Let's check in for more from Hot Springs to set the stage with our Hall of Famer, Gary Stevens.
Yeah, Greg, muddy conditions here today, but a lot warmer than it was yesterday. 54 degrees. It's cloudy. It's overcast. Going to cool off later on this afternoon about the time that we have our feature race with Night Ops. Night Ops has gone over a year without winning a race. It was clear back in 2020 when he won the Grade 3 Cornhusker at Prairie Meadows. Getting class relief today as far as conditions go, but not an easy spot for him today, this afternoon. He's got to get back to his winning ways to inch closer to that $1 million mark. If he wins today, he'll be about $20,000 shy of $1 million. He's been a true competitor. He's 6 years old, trying to right the ship today and look for a possible start in the Oaklawn Handicap later on this meet, Greg.
All right, Gary, thanks. We're going to hear a lot more from Gary throughout the show, but certainly Night Ops going to be fun to watch in that race. But as Gary mentioned, not an easy spot despite dropping out of a Grade 1. You'd think huge drop. He's going to be a massive favorite. Some tough customers he's going to have to deal with there.
Well, I think it's a very solid group, and that's something we've come to expect from racing at Oaklawn Park. You've got a $102,000 allowance race. Horses are going to show up. You have to earn it. They're not going to hand it to you. Big purses bring very competitive fields, and Night Ops, though, is certainly getting that class relief that Gary alluded to.
That'll be the 8th on today's card. That coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. And You can play all the action, of course, by getting signed up started with Nyra Bets. Go to nyrabets.com, download the app. Meanwhile, pick 4 here in New York starts with this race, Merchants of Cool. A lot to like with this horse, who ran a game second off a 7.5-month layoff. 3-1 right now. He's not favored. It's actually Irish Giant, the 5. Mertcan Cantermasi, who is the one to beat on the board, a horse who comes from very far out of it.
You know, I think, though, the track is playing kind to horses that are rallying from just off the pace. I don't think it's a big bias, but it feels like horses are bottoming out just a little bit late that are showing more speed, which is a departure from the track we've had for several weeks here in New York, where inside speed was dominant.
So pick 4 starts here. Pool closing in on 60,000 and growing. Let's check in for the first time today with Jonathan Kinchin. Hey, JK.
Yeah, look, if you played the pick 6 and you're not alive, you played the pick 5 and not alive, there's nothing better than the pick 4 to help with those sad feelings of defeat. So let's try to hit this pick 4. I'm going to spread a little bit less in the second leg, a little bit less in the third leg, single in the last leg. I want to have Merchants of Cool, the 1, down on the inside in race 6, but I don't necessarily trust that horse. So I wanted to make sure I used horses like Deputy Flag, X-Top, so on and so forth. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get started. 1, 2, 5, 6 in the second leg. The 1, No Burn, seems to be a new horse for Bill Morey. Another horse I don't necessarily trust with that kind of outlier performance, drawn towards the inside. We'll have to see what happens there. The 5, Waxman in that race, another horse I think that could take another step forward for Todd Pletcher. In the third leg, race 8, the Rego Park, the 2, G-Money. I thought a lot of people would single, but I thought the 4 and the 5 made a little bit of sense. I don't necessarily trust the 2 as well at a short price to come back and kind of duplicate that performance, and maybe he will, but I do want to make sure I have the 4 and the 5, Unique, Unions, and Baris. And then to wrap it up, I am going to single the 1, Eminency, down on the inside. This horse ran extremely well, going 6.5 furlongs, and feels like the type of horse that will appreciate going that extra 7. I like the inside draw, hoping for a hustling, confident ride from the inside.
That's how JK is going to play it. That's 7th race, Mig. It's just a first allowance condition, but it is loaded with a lot of good storylines. Chad Brown with a couple of runners in there. That's going to be a fun race to cover. You can play against your friends, fellow fans, with the Showdown contest. Free to enter handicapping challenge following New York racing on our program. Place your picks, watch your name, climb that leaderboard. We'll have the top 10 at the end of the show. Go to nyra.com/showdown to get involved. Pick 4 is coming up next, and Merchants of Cool. Second choice on the board right now. Jeffrey Engelhardt, Andre Worry. If he improves off his 7.5-month layoff return, he's going to be difficult to handle. We'll be back.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. Like their sire, his runners have excelled on both dirt and turf, including these standout performers.
Leading by 3, Gibberish and Dylan Davis.
Out of a Galileo mare, this dual surface star has sired juvenile stakes winners on both dirt and turf. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, and as mentioned earlier, you could play all the action we bring you with Naira Bets. Get signed up started, go to NairaBets.com, download that Naira Bets app, bonus 200, that code to use at sign up. Race 6 kicks off this pick 4, and there's the one to catch in this race. Could be the lone speed here. Deputy Flag, the 3s at 5-2 with more. Let's check in for the first time today with Maggie Wolfendale.
We actually have half-brothers competing here in this 6th race with Deputy Flag and Irish Giant. And it's amazing because this family, whom I'm familiar with, as my husband Tom Morley trained, the older sister in here, Bluegrass Flag, who was a multiple stakes winner, they all physically look completely different. She was a very kind of effeminate type and like tall and leggy. Deputy Flag's built like a quarter horse, and Irish Giant, he is a giant. He's huge. But talking about Deputy Flag, I think it's really interesting that Rudy Rodriguez opts to put the 10-pound apprentice on Jose Gomez. And that yesterday here, we saw Jose get aboard a speed horse and open up on a field. And the 10-pound difference on a speed horse can make a big difference at the end of a race. So we'll see if Deputy Flag can see it through today. That's often his problem, is seeing out the latter stages of his races. But again, forward in here, looks incredibly fit. I've seen him look a little bit better in his coat, to be perfectly honest, but we'll see what he does here with that apprentice aboard. Now, a horse that you kind of missed the wedding with last time is number 6, Eucharist, as he did win that non-2 for 16. But I had noted in his first start off the claim for Michelle Giangiulio, who is having such a great Aqueduct winter meet. I mean, she's won with 4 of her 6 runners, including another stake with Seafoam in the Alex M. Robb. And she's doing a great job. She only has 5 horses. She rides all of them herself. She's incredibly hands-on. And Eucharist looks the best I've ever seen him. I had noted when he made his first start for Michelle off the claim that he was so much more relaxed. This is a horse that in his previous efforts on the Niagara circuit would wash out, would want to flip over when they were saddling him. He was just a mess prior to going in the gate, in which he would still sometimes act up at the gate. Michelle has schooled him relentlessly. He goes and gets a tack on the walk, which seems to prove best for him, and physically he looks great. He's such a happier horse. He's not nervous anymore. I know it's a tougher spot when you graduate from these conditioned claiming races, but I like what I'm seeing from Eucharist, but probably not going to get the 18-1 that you got on him last time, Greg.
Nope, down to 6-1 off that victory. Thank you, Maggie. Christian Ramos will ride for Michelle Giangiulio. She started this meet, that trainer, perfect 3 for 3.
Yeah, and the horses are all running well, and just like Maggie was talking about, this horse acting so well. That's always, to me, a sign of a happier horse. Horses that kind of relax and start taking things in stride more, it's just because they're comfortable. Horse can't tell you when he's uncomfortable except by his body language, and that's why I think horses act up and sometimes get a bad rap that they're a bad actor. No, they're just not comfortable with something.
Well, there's Merchants of Cool. So this one, the favorite right now, he was off for 7.5 months. We're going to show you the return back on December the 10th. Bumped a little bit here in the break and winds up runner-up behind Papa Smooth, who's actually won 3 of his last 5 starts.
Yeah, worked out a real good trip after a little bit of a bumpy beginning and finished well. And just coming off of, an extended layoff, so you got to think that from a fitness standpoint, he'll even be a little bit better. But he ran well, and he's going to finish in front of Deputy Flag here, who is back in this race. And Deputy Flag, though, I think is going to be very, very lonely on the lead. I think he's going to have things all his own way.
That should be, the lone speed, the 3-horse Deputy Flag. Can that horse finish? Well, has a lot of seconds he's compiled. He's 0 for 6 at Aqueduct as well. But lone speed dangerous. Maggie had mentioned a 10-pound apprentice will be aboard. That's Jose Gomez. And there's the horse that the apprentice will ride. Is that sometimes, for an apprentice and a young rider, the easiest way to do it? Just say, go out to the front and try and go gate to wire?
This is a perfect situation to use a 10-pound apprentice because of their lack of experience. Then you don't want them to have to make so many decisions. Now, I like this rider. I think this rider's shown ability, and I like his seat on a horse. But he's getting a 9-pound swing in weights from what he carried last time against the same horses with the 10 pounds off for the apprentice. And the reason apprentices get the weight allowances, it gives trainers and owner incentive to ride a young rider, an inexperienced rider. That's how he's going to gain his experience. And a horse like Deputy Flag, you just want to get out of his way. Long, light hold, let him run out from underneath you. And this is a perfect scenario for 10-pound apprentice, and the 9-pound shift in weights, I think, is significant.
He went gate to wire at Saratoga this summer and ran a 74 buyer in the process. If he can get back to that effort, everyone else is going to be struggling to try and run him down on the stretch.
Yeah, no doubt. But again, I love the fact that he's getting that swing in weights. He's getting from anywhere from 7 to 10 pounds from everybody else in the race, except for Eucharist, who's also employing an apprentice, a 5-pound apprentice, in this spot.
Very little look like they can run with him early in this spot. If anybody, maybe the 7 Papa Tom B can try and put a little pressure on him, but it looks like he can get loose.
Yeah, I just don't think anybody's quite as naturally fast as he is.
So here's Merchants of Cool. We showed you his last race. This is the second start off a near 8-month layoff.
Ran really well off of that layoff. It could take a step forward.
Dirt races for this horse have not been very good. He's better on turf.
Yeah, I just don't see him really contending here on the dirt.
Here's the Speedster with the apprentice.
I think this is a great tactic. 10-pound apprentice on a fast horse. Rudy Rodriguez understanding the importance of weight.
This horse coming out of a monster race against No Burn, who we're going to see in sort of the undercard feature later in the 7th.
And turning back in distance, which I think is a huge advantage for this horse.
Irish Giant, the 5, is going to come from well out of it.
He's hoping things get heated up in the front end, and as the 6, Eucharist reverting back to some of his bad habits. Good job there, Christian Ramos, keeping a hold of this horse.
Yeah, that was a difficult situation. There's Papa Tom B. He's, if nothing else, at least tactical. Could be close.
He's tactical, but he's probably put in that position of that chasing mode, tough spot.
Our American Star, 8-year-old, he's 2 for 63 lifetime.
Here's a horse that's 2 wins, 9 seconds, 160,000 in earnings. He'd like to see them go fast early.
Yeah, and 18-1 outside, Quintarelli with Jackie Davis.
One thing about it, we see horses outperform for Jackie Davis. She hits the board on a lot of horses at big prices.
2 minutes to post. Again, this kicks off the late pick 4 sequence on our Sunday card here in South Ozone Park at Aqueduct. And there is Christian Ramos. Had to hop off of Eucharist, who reared up with more. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, we currently see Eucharist running off the right way, and I just heard over the radio that he will be a late scratch here. Eucharist, unfortunately, maybe I jinxed him, reverting back to some of his bad behavior. You know, it was almost just as if he was feeling fresh, and Christian Ramos trying to, swing himself back up, and when he did that, Eucharist reacted even more negatively and really got away from the pony, pulling away there, and they tried to hold on to him, but unfortunately, he is running loose, and hopefully will be apprehended by the outriders here soon, but he will not participate today, Greg.
Well, unfortunate and tough situation to be in for that young man right there.
He did a great job when he was originally unseated and the horse has been apprehended, which is good news because the horse will tend to look to get back to the stable area, even though they're not stabled here at Aqueduct. You could even see he was looking for the gap, and that's when there's running a risk of them hurting themselves if they try to go through the gap or run through the fence. So outriders do such a great job here, Greg, to have this horse apprehended and just makes things a lot safer. He did such a good job hanging on this horse originally, but when you're there that close and you have help, you're probably better off waiting for them to give you a leg back up instead of swinging yourself back on, because the horse sees you coming from over the top of them. Horse can see directly behind them. They have incredible peripheral vision. Some of them will get spooked, and this horse has a tendency, obviously, to get spooked.
So we'll have to wait to see Eucharist coming off that win last time out, try and back it up another day. Eucharist late scratch here, who was a contender in this race. Unfortunate for a trainer, too, Michelle Giangiulio, that has had such a tremendous beginning to this meet.
Yeah, she's been doing a tremendous job. And I tell you what, I really appreciate, you saw her shaking hands with Christian Ramos. You know, it's like one of those things, hey, we're on the same team. Nobody's laying blame at anybody's feet that the horse got loose. You're okay. The horse is apprehended. He's okay. There'll be another day.
Trainer provided us, Michelle Giangiulio, with one of the great moments we had all summer long, really all year long on the program. As you see her Eucharist head back to the barn, getting her first career win coming at Saratoga.
Coming at Saratoga, in a stakes race in Saratoga with a horse that you claimed off of a world-class outfit in Christophe Clement stable. You know, just the sheer jubilation, the emotion was so raw and open. It was really fun to watch. And the only thing is, it's hard to build on that. You break your maiden in a stake race in Saratoga. That's a tough act to follow.
But yet somehow she managed to, starting out this meet, a perfect 3 for 3. With more, let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, Michelle, actually, I'm very familiar with, as she was my husband's former assistant. She worked for Tom for nearly 3 years. She was a part of Grade 1 success with Carrick, who won the Grade 1 Secretariat, played a major role in that horse's development. And like I said, back in the paddock, she is doing all this work herself. Marshall Graham of 10 Strike Racing has given her a great opportunity. She from Pennsylvania as well, like Marshall, and knows him through her uncle, Juan Carlos Guerrero. So Michelle, a really hands-on horsewoman, and I could not be more excited and happy for her success. But taking a look at the horse who has been hovering around favoritism, that's number 1. Actually, he's now second choice to Deputy Flag. But Merchants of Cool, second off the layoff. I thought he looked fairly heavy and ran well, though, respectively. In hindsight, I didn't love him at first in the paddock. He was just kind of dull and kind of sulky a bit in the way he was walking around. But once the rider got up, Andre Worry got aboard, he kind of livened up a bit, got a decent warm-up into him. But I think that Deputy Flag's going to be tough here. Now, it's cold, and there's also a headwind coming down the stretch. And Mig, maybe you can expound on this quickly, as does a headwind have any effect on speed horses versus ones that want to close?
Well, I think a headwind in their face down the backstretch certainly affects the speed. You'd like to have somebody break the you know, kind of take the lead with the wind a little bit. In the stretch, everybody's floating out for room, so I don't think it's going to affect as much. I think it plays much more if you have that headwind down the backstretch.
A 9-5 favorite with the speedster, Deputy Flag. How much can Jose Gomez open up right there on that horse, the 3? On this field and try and get some early separation. 9-5 favorite. Meanwhile, X-Top, the 4 next door, 9-1 on a horse who the last time he was sprinting, it was for 25 non-winners at 2, and he was a winner coming out of the toughest race of anybody in this field, nearly double digits. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call to kick off this pick 4.
Ready for the start of race 6. And they're off. Deputy Flag quickly out for the early lead, in front by a length and a half, now by 2. The next top racing in second, Papa Tom B in third. Extreme outside is Quintarelli. Merchants of Cool down at the rail races in 5th. 2.5 lengths to Steelers Fan for Life in 6th. On the outside is Our American Star, and Irish Giant trails the field in 8th. It is Deputy Flag with the lead here by a length and a half. Quintarelli has moved into second, the quarter 22 and 4/5 seconds. Deputy Flag, the leader. With Quintarelli giving chase in second. X-Top is down at the rail. Papa Tom B on the outside. Papa Tom B takes third. X-Top now back running in 4th. And then it is Our American Star in 5th, followed by Merchants of Cool. At the top of the stretch, it is Deputy Flag with the lead, and Deputy Flag is opened up by 3.5, now by 4 lengths. Quintarelli running in second. Then it's Papa Tom B. X-Top down towards the rail. On the outside, it is Merchants of Cool and Our American Star. But Deputy Flag is home free here. It is a front-running victory for Deputy Flag under 10-pound apprentice Jose Gomez. Merchants of Cool came on for second. Irish Giant closed for third.
Deputy Flag and the 10-pound apprentice Jose Gomez goes gate to wire for the win. First win in 7 tries here at Aqueduct.
And he always looked comfortable. He made the lead quite easily under this apprentice, Jose Gomez, who's got a nice seat on a horse. And I like the way he waited. He opened up coming off the quarter pole and hands and heels to the wire. I'm really impressed with this kid. This is only his 2nd lifetime win from his 21st mount, and I think he's got a future. He keeps a good head about him, keeps his work ethic, and it seems like he has a good one. And what a perfect spot to employ a 10-pound apprentice on a speed horse that usually gets late. He didn't get late today at all with that break in the weights.
No, he finished with plenty left in the tank. He had seem to be finding more today. 3-1, 5-8 in favoritism late in this race, shifted actually back to Merchant Sakul. So Deputy Flag goes off second choice here, 2-1.
Yeah, but you know what? It was funny. He was 9-5 just before post time, and then they flip-flop Merchant's Cool. Ran well again. Ran well off the layoff. Just couldn't catch a loose on the lead speed horse and Deputy Flag and a 10-pound apprentice, who I think looked really good finishing on a horse.
So the speedster able to hang on and look impressive doing it, going gate to wire for the victory here. 7-year-old son of Posse with the victories. We head to Hot Springs, Arkansas, 4th from Oaklawn. Starter optional claiming group, traveling a 2-turn mile. West Side Girl, the 8. Jerry Hollendorfer, Ricardo Santana Jr. faced Coach last time out. We just saw win the Pippin yesterday for Brad Cox.
Big class relief here.
Here's Catania, trained by Scott Becker.
Well named, out of the damn Sicilian. Speed from the inside because she's coming out of sprints, you would think.
Rider change, Tiago Pereira on the 2, Lee Rowe.
Yeah, horse the last time seen for 16,000 was a prompt winner. I think she's a very live contender here.
It's an 8-time winner here, Lovely Lady Lexi.
Another one stretching out off of sprints. She's been running here on the East Coast at Belmont. Stretching to a mile, she should have speed.
Social Circle, Robertino Diodoro first off the claim.
Strong connections, first off the claim for Diodoro, gets David Cohen. Filly that looks like she does, Mara does her best running on the lead. She could have trouble with the pace here.
Muddy track today, and Persisto just won in the mud here at Oaklawn last start.
Yeah, and a horse that's probably tactically got the right style.
Hoping for a ring. Dirt debut came last start. She won sprinting. Now she stretches out.
Stretching out. Another one you think on the stretch out should be fairly close to the pace.
Here's the favorite, Jerry Hollendorfer, West Side Girl with Ricardo Santana Jr.
Just huge class relief here and very tactical. Should be in a good stalking spot.
It was in the Grade 3 Fantasy in April last year at this track. Way too smart for Timothy Hughes.
Yeah, ran well last time, but that was also for 10. This is a little bit tougher.
Fiery Lady, the 10, just won on the turf.
Yeah, it looks like she's more turf meant. No turf course at Oaklawn. Giving her a try.
7-year-old mare here, Kayla Lou, was just 3rd to Basisto last time out in the mud.
Yeah, and again, moves up in company. This looks like it's a bit tougher.
Close to me, 6-year-old mare by the Derby winner Orb.
Yeah, should be closing. Just a tough draw, kind of drawn towards the outside, short run to the first turn.
Won 3 in a row, by the way, all at Hawthorne. And then also eligible, draws in here at 29-1, bid for power.
And another one that's coming out of sprints and could be a part of that pace.
2 minutes to post here in this 4th from Oaklawn. And Gary, we have Social Circle in this race, Robertino Diodoro, M&M Racing. We expect so much from those connections, but amazingly, they have yet to win at the meet, 0 for 20.
Yeah, 0 for 20 at the meet. Robertino Diodoro is started 44 horses here, won 9 of those races. 20 of those 44 races were for the powerful combination M&M Stables and Diodoro. They've gone 9 seconds out of those 20 starts, so not too bad. But Social Circle, she was claimed 2 back. The conditions on this race are for horses that have started for 10 or less in their last 2 races. She was claimed for 10,000 by Eddie Keneally 2 races back. He fired her back in 19 days, and she got beat 25 lengths that day. She's ran decent on muddy tracks. She won on the sloppy track that day when Keneally claimed her at Keeneland, came back on a muddy track at Churchill Downs and got beat 25 lengths. So it's just like a deck of cards and reaching in and pick them. You know, she doesn't have to break the slump, if you want to call it a slump. I'll take 9 seconds any day. The horses are earning money, but the way they play the game, they claim them, they drop them down. You almost have to win to break even playing this game. But there are sure a lot of people down looking at the horses that are in for the tag. She's not one of them. She's not up for sale today, so they must like the way she's training, guys.
All right, Gary, thanks. Making their way to the starting gate. And let's go back to the favorite for a moment. West Side Girl struggled against a lot better. Huge drop in class, but you look at another race in the mud. It was a 6-length score here at Oaklawn as well. That was a maiden-breaking win back in February. Let's go to Jonathan for more.
Yeah, Wolfie, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the 2 Lee Rowe. I wish it was Leroy because I keep wanting to say Leroy, but whatever. This is a horse that I thought ran okay a couple of starts ago, then shows up on a muddy racetrack, didn't run particularly well. If this horse can find that effort prior to the last race. I think Leroy, let's just call it Leroy, who cares, should have a lot to say in this race.
7-1. We'll see what happens here. And the horse who 2 back was a winner at Churchill on and off track. Let's go to Vic Stauffer. He has the call. 4th. From Oaklawn, 2-turn mile coming up.
Stowe and Close to Me. Hoping for a ring, very fractious behind the gate. Chelsea Bailey just did a great job staying with her. Hoping for a ring comes forward. Bid for Power's already in. They're at the post. They're off. Fiery Lady and Catania shows speed. Lovely Lady Lexi is there. Between horses goes Social Circle. At the clubhouse turn, Catania has the lead from Social Circle, who runs up outside of Lovely Lady Lexi. Leroy is away in 4th. Then comes Persisto, Fiery Lady, and Hoping for a Ring. Bid for Power has 4 beat. They are Close to Me and Kayla Lou, followed by Way Too Smart. And the trailer is West Side Girl, and the leader is Catania. Catania to the backstretch, 3/4 of a length from Social Circle in 2nd. It's a similar margin at the rail, and Lovely Lady Lexi 3rd and a length and a half from the front. Leroy and Persesto are 4th and 5th with 2.5 to make up. Fiery Lady moves through at the rail. Then it's 2.5 to Bid for Power. She's got about 6 to make up. Kayla Lou splits horses. Hoping for a Ring is about to be joined and passed by West Side Girl, and they leave the backstretch. Finish line is the 16th pole, and Catania is still there. Catania 3/4 of a length in front of Social Circle and Lovely Lady Lexi. Persisto and David Cabrera move up, and here's Persisto, 4th, could get into 2nd soon. She's in the blue. Way Too Smart gathers momentum. She's got a chance. West Side Girl still needs a lot of racing room. Close to Me and Kayla Lou also with chances, but it's still Catania, and Catania gets away at the top of the stretch. She's now built up a 3-length lead on Persisto in 2nd. Then comes Close to Me and Kayla Lou. Catania, final 16th, and a big lead. Kayla Lou might get into 2nd. West Side Girl might get into 2nd. Catania's in 1st, and she wins. Catania won by about 5. West Side Girl did get 2nd. Maybe Kayla Lou for 3rd. Close for 4th. Bid for Power and Persisto.
Catania just runs away from this field for the 4th victory in 8 career starts.
Made the lead from that inside post. Such an advantage in these 2-turn races with short runs to the first turn. Francisco Arrieta having a tremendous meet. Already his 19th win of this young Oaklawn Park stand. And
18-1.
at way too big a price. And we talked about a bunch of the drop downs, and this was another drop down for a horse that you knew was going to be involved. Didn't think she'd get this loose and this comfortable, but you could see midway down the backstretch, Greg, her ears were up. She was flicking her ears back and forth, and she was just so comfortable and so happy, and just kept finding.
And, you know, a lot of people say this too, the first time going longer, sometimes it's the best. This was the first time stretching out beyond 6.5 furlongs.
Well, because they run to the first turn, and it kind of takes them off guard a little bit. The turn comes up so quick, they come back off the bridle. This filly was well meant. You know, the clue should have been for us when Francisco Arrieta takes the mount, a guy who is in demand, and he usually has options, that she was live.
No question, escapes at a big number at 18-1. Back in New York, this one goes gate to wire under the 10-pound apprentice. Jose Gomez, deputy flag, impressive to win for the 3rd time in her career. His career, excuse me, 7-year-old.
Yeah, and again, I just think it was a perfect execution of a plan with Rudy Rodriguez to put a 10-pound apprentice, excuse me, a rider who's only won 1 race in his career on a speed horse. Doesn't have to make a lot of decisions, get out of his way. You get that break in weights, and when the horse gets loose and carrying much less than his opposition, this is the end result.
breaks an 0 for streak as well. This son of Posse at Aqueduct was 0 for 6 coming in. A lot of runner-up finishes, 4 of those 6 prior. But now breaks into the win column with this performance and the gate-to-wire score. 7th race. Really competitive first allowance condition group here, going a 2-turn mile and an 8 distance. Chad Brown will send out 2. He's got Southern District with 3. He's got the current favorite as well in Winterpool. There is Chad Brown teaming up with Jose Ortiz with the morning line favorite and current favorite Ken Winterpool, getting back to a mile and an 8, which he's run well at in the past. Breakthrough for his 3rd win of his career.
I bought a Tapper colt at the Keeneland September sale and incredibly excited about that purchase. It was a colt that had plenty of size and scope and carried himself with a real presence that drew me to him.
I bought a Tappert colt out of Black Coronas at the Phasing 5th in July sale, out of a Curlin mare, big beautiful horse. We're real excited about him coming up in the spring.
Tappert, standing at Gainesway.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Smile Happy was a TDN rising star following his maiden win at Keeneland. From there, he captured the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes to remain undefeated and earning points toward the Kentucky Derby. In Future Pool 1, Smile Happy was individual leader by lowest odds. Among the top of his crop by stakes winners and earnings, Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Call today and book your mare to Red Hot Sire Run Happy, standing in legendary Stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you by Run Happy, champion sprinter. Now standing in legendary stall number 1 at Claiborne Farm. Never lost in his career while sprinting. Did it all while racing medication-free. Back at Oaklawn. Catania stretching out to a mile distance for the first time, and liked seeing this. Nothing in front of her.
She got very, very comfortable on the lead. This affiliate that's been chasing paces of halves and 45 and change. When she got to make the lead and go a half and 48, she was very, very comfortable. And Catania, out of the mare Sicilian. Catania, one of my wife's favorite places in the world.
Gotta get there. $39.80 on a man who's vying for being the leading rider at the meet.
Francisco Arrieta takes him out on a horse that goes off at this price. You got to pay attention because he has options. They're not reaching out for him unless they think they have a chance.
We're going to take a timeout. Rego Park still to come at Aqueduct, but a very competitive 7th will precede it. Chad Brown will send down 2 in the race, including Winterpool, current 3-1 favorite, with Jose Ortiz aboard. Stay with us. We'll be back. Post-parade next.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Solovini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it.
The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Back at America's Day at the Races program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Feature still ahead at Aqueduct at Rego Park, but this 7th race has a lot of talent signed up. Mile and an eighth, 2 turns. It's Winter Pool. Current favorite, 1 of 2 for Chad Brown in the race. We'll send out Southern District as well, the 3. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Greg, will also see the return, at least on this show, of Manny Franco, as he did return to riding today after testing positive on Monday for COVID-19. I spoke to Manny in the jocks room, and he said he was completely unsymptomatic in that he only went to get a test because he shares, as they say, the same corner in the jocks room with Jorge Vargas, who had tested positive a few days prior, and both jocks back here riding today. And Manny says he's ready to get back at it, as he will be aboard number 3 Southern District, a horse that returns to the dirt. His fastest races have come on the dirts, where he broke his maiden too back at Churchill in May of last year. He doesn't look like a turf horse, so I like the fact that he gets back to the main track. Now, his pedigree says that, yes, he should be a 9 furlong, if not longer horse. Does he necessarily look that way? No. He's actually a little bit more stout and compact. And the fact that he kind of was losing ground in the latter stages of that Saratoga race hint at, is this truly his best distance? Now, granted, we saw a little bit of a layoff from the July to September effort, so maybe there was a little bit of an issue, possibly. I don't know. But I do like this spot for him. We'll just see if the 9 furlongs plays out to be a successful distance for him, as he will have his stablemate in here as well. Number 6, Winter Pool. Waxman, he graduated last time, and I sure hope that Jose Lescano, who climbs aboard for the first time, ate his Wheaties today, because this is a horse that John Velasquez had to ride literally from start to finish of the entire 8 furlongs. He is a horse that does lack some focus. They put the blinkers on last time. It did the trick. I don't know if we saw a vast improvement, honestly, in the way that he ran, because he kind of drops back a bit on the turn, so now he's going to have to negotiate 2 turns. Is he a horse that doesn't necessarily love running around those turns? I do think, though, that he should benefit from the added ground, given his physicality, for the fact that he's a little bit of a longer, tubular, kind of slighter framed individual, and a lot of times we do see those horses appreciate getting a little bit more ground to cover. He comes in here really well conditioned, as you're accustomed to seeing from Todd Pletcher, but he is a horse that, even watching him here in the paddock, does lack a little bit of focus. I think he's a horse that you can never stop pedaling on him, as Jose Lescano will have to do that today. Longest shot on the board, number 2, King Kumbele, comes in here from Parks, making his dirt debut that time, in which he was wired that day by Splice the Main Brace, who returned to win with an 88 Beyer speed figure, and this horse was just left chasing him the entire way around there. I know he's a long shot, and primarily his running has been done on the synthetic, has a little bit more of a turf hoof to him, I will say that. But obviously that first race at Parks on the dirt shows that he can handle it. He looks great here. And a horse that I think will like the 2-turn mile and an eighth configuration here at Aqueduct. Presents himself with the utmost confidence here in the paddock. Just a long, big, rangy horse, very powerful in the way that he appears here, and bred by the Hall of Famer, Jonathan Shepard. Greg?
Yeah, Pennsylvania bred. Thank you, Maggie. And she mentioned that dirt debut at Parks and the horse that beat him. He's actually won 3 of his last 4 starts, Splice the Main Brace, so he's in raging form, and we'll see if that horse can move forward. Second start on dirt off that performance. His figure in that lone dirt start matches up against most of these.
Yeah, and I thought the last start he was a little bit outpaced turning for home, but then he kept at it resolutely. That speaks to the mile and an eighth, I think, helping him, playing into his strength, and I see a lot of speed signed on here.
Now let's get back to Winter Pool, who still is the favorite here for Chad Brown. We're going to go 2 starts back, and he was tackling a tough one in Ducal for Brad Cox. It's a very nice horse. This was at a mile at Keeneland. It's maybe a mile and an eighth as you look back at his races, maybe even better for him.
I think so. Last time he went a mile and an eighth in Saratoga, he won. You know, Maggie talked about the 5-horse Waxman being a horse that you have to ride, you have to keep after. Winterpool's very much the same way. I call them bicycle horses, Greg. If you're not riding, they're not running. You got to continually pedal. Winterpool gets Jose Ortiz, who rode him 2 starts back, so he's familiar with this horse. He knows that he has to get his attention.
Meanwhile, there's Manny Franco back, as Maggie mentioned. First day back riding since that COVID issue earlier in the week. And the horse, he's on Southern District, so he breaks his maiden, and he got a big figure for it, going a mile and 16th at Churchill. That Saratoga race, he was backing up because he had trouble. He stumbled out of the gate immediately. It started bad for him, and then he was steadied as well in that race. So he had plenty of excuses. I'm excited to see him back on dirt.
A lot of excuses that day in an extremely tough field. I remember thinking that was one of the most competitive allowance races early in the meet in Saratoga.
Yeah, I agree with you. Here's No Burn. He ran a monster effort last start for Bill Morey.
A big galloping horse, No Burn. Our friend Lee Einstein named him for his Casa Amigo tequila, No Burn.
Goes down smooth.
Inside post should be part of the pace.
Yeah. King Cumbule, and that's the one coming in from Parks, the 2. Here's Manny on Southern District.
I think his form's a little dirtied up, and I think his best dirt races make this horse competitive.
Dust Devil, he was very wide and closing ground last time out.
Yeah, and against the grain of the track, where I thought the inside portion of the track was very good at that point.
Here's Waxman. Todd Pletcher put blinkers on last start and got a win.
Yeah, a horse that you've got to keep after. He's not generous. You've got to take it from him.
Showed you Winterpool trying to make up ground late against Ducal. He's got a big finish.
I think he's going to be aided by pace here.
Top Gun Tommy should be part of that pace.
Part of that pace, 10-pound apprentice again, Jose Gomez, and this horse won wire-to-wire with him back in October at Belmont.
And Auburn Hills would like to be forward as well.
Another horse that should be part of the pace, and with an outside post, Dylan Davis has to be aggressive to make sure he's not caught too wide into that first turn.
Well, this horse was forward as well last time out, and he ran a monster effort, the best of his career. Can he do it again? With more, let's go to JK.
Yeah, look, I'm a horse player, and so I always pay attention to horse player type owners. That's why I always give so much respect to Marshall Graham and 10 Strike, as well as Bob Bone, the owner of No Burn. A horse player at heart. He's got involved in this game from a claiming standpoint, and when he has one that he's claimed and is running back, I usually give a second look, and it feels like No Burn has kind of turned into the horse that he was always kind of meant to be. This horse has always kind of taken money when he's with Bill Mott for Lee Einsiedler, and he's finally kind of shown up and started to run. He ran extremely well last time. I like the fact that he's shown he could take some pressure. He'll get hustled away from the inside with Kendrick. You're getting 6-1 on the board. There's a ton of things to like about No Burn. If No Burn gets beat, doesn't show up, run that race, taking a shot at him at 6-1 makes perfect sense and would be hard to talk anyone off of that. The other horse I'll mention in here is the 5, Waxman. Another horse that getting a little bit more ignored on the board than I thought he would be. He ran well, finally getting his maiden broken last time for Todd Pletcher, and we know what happens with Todd. When he gets a horse going in the right direction, especially long-distance dirt horses, they continue to improve and improve and improve, and there's nothing wrong with a little empire maker when you're trying to go a mile and an eighth.
Especially at Saratoga, when you see a lot of those mile and an eighth races, Todd Pletcher, he just seems to have the horses that can last and have that stamina.
He puts a lot of miles in his horses, a lot of foundation, and they continue. They're relentless. They keep galloping. Waxman hasn't shown me that he's the most genuine horse yet. You know, he kind of almost runs with the emergency brake on in stops and starts. Mile and an eighth track record at Aqueduct. It's been held since 1973 by Riva Ridge. With 130 pounds, he ran a mile and eighth and 147 flat with Hall of Famer Eddie Maple aboard, one of his 3 wins in the Stuyvesant Handicap.
It's a lot of weight to set a track record with. Not bad. Post time coming up for the 7th. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Taking a look at the horse that JK is interested in, that's number 1, No Burn in here. And I've always thought the same thing, in that there were high expectations for this horse, and maybe one that had some issues to get over. Obviously, that voided claim for the 20 back at Saratoga, I've said repeatedly, was because of a heat issue. And 2, a horse that just lacked a little bit of focus sometimes. And I think, and I've always thought, that actually longer will be better for him, as he'll try this 2-turn, at least on the main track, for the first time. I like him getting to a mile and an eighth. I think it suits him well. Now, he's meeting much better horses than what he did last time, in my opinion. But he ran a fast enough figure to make him a major player in here. Love what I saw from him in the warm-up. Kendrick's really kind of gotten him revved up. He's on his toes. He's going to be seeking a forward position, but it does feel as though, as Mig has said, that there is some speed in here, so it might not work well in his favor as far as dynamics are concerned in this event. Greg?
And he has to be, thank you, Maggie, he's got to be aggressive from that inside post. And with Kendrick aboard, you think that's going to be obviously the MO.
You got to let him run to the first turn. Not a very long run to the first turn, going a mile and 1/8 here. And if a horse like the 7, Top Gun Tommy, wants it, at least it creates separation. He goes on. It spreads the field out a little bit. You can ease out in the clear and just be, comfortable laying second. If you come out, which Kendrick doesn't tend to do, too complacent, horses fold over, the pace moderates in front of you, now you're jammed up in behind other horses.
There he is, Kendrick Carmouche on the 1 no burn. And yeah, you talked about that turn coming up quick. It comes up immediately almost in this mile and 1/8 configuration here at Aqueduct. So from that inside post, he breaks sharp. He can really create a little separation early.
Yeah, and use it to your advantage. You don't want to give away position. Obviously it's a different game, but in harness racing, when you have the inside or the pole position, you use it to your advantage. You save ground and you go forward into the turn.
9-2, no burn. Kendrick stepping into the gate, but throughout, Winterpool's been the favorite, but he was a 3-1 favorite for a majority of the wagering. He's a solid 9-5 favorite now for Chad Brown. And meanwhile, that other Chad Brown horse in the Soksa-Klarovich Stable Southern District being ignored a little bit. 5-1. We're set for the 7th. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Top Gun Tommy going out for the early lead. No burn is down at the rail. Auburn Hills on the extreme outside. Then comes Waxman and Southern District into the clubhouse turn. 3 of them across. No burn. Top Gun Tommy and Auburn Hills. Southern District down at the rail runs in 4th. And alongside is Waxman in 5th. King Kumbale is next in 6th, followed by Dust Devil in 7th. And the early trailer is Winterpool in 8th. The favorite is at the back of the pack as they race for the backstretch, and it is No Burn who has the lead here by a length. The quarter went in 23-4. Top Gun Tommy races in 2nd. Auburn Hills is on the outside and in 3rd. Waxman now makes a move. Waxman is gaining ground, moving up into 3rd, now into 2nd, and right behind No Burn. So it's No Burn, then the trio of Top Gun Tommy, Auburn Hills, and on the outside is Waxman. Then we come back to Southern District, who's racing in 5th. Dust Devil in 6th. Break of 3. King Kumbale. And at the back is still Winterpool. The half went in 48 seconds. No Burn challenged here by Top Gun Tommy. They are right together. Auburn Hills is 3 wide. Waxman is 4 wide as they race midway around the far turn. No Burn holding on to the lead here by a length. No Burn now getting clear by a little more than a length. Then comes Auburn Hills. Far outside is Waxman. Southern District looking for a way through. Top Gun Tommy has dropped back down at the rail. Dust Devil, far outside it is Winterpool. And they are all chasing No Burn. But here's Waxman now to draw right alongside. Here is Waxman now to take the lead from No Burn. Winterpool moving up on the outside, but there's just the 16th to the finish. And it is Waxman with the lead here. Winterpool in 2nd. And it is Waxman and Jose Lescano. They won by 2. Winterpool finished 2nd. Southern District was 3rd.
Waxman the win, and since he has added blinkers, he's now perfect 2 for 2 for Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher.
And he made a move down the backstretch. It's not a winning type move. He made an early kind of brush move, was caught 4 wide throughout the entirety of the race pretty much, but he was relentless. He just kept coming. And a horse that takes a ride, Jose Lescano earned his money. If you're not pedaling, he's not running. Same with Winterpool, who was far back early, rallied wide, but another horse that if you don't ride him, he's not going to give it to you. They're not overly generous horses. But Waxman, this was a big step forward because with the trip he had and that kind of early brush move wide down the backstretch, usually not a recipe for success. Well, Waxman showed that distance is probably his forte.
5-6, 3-4. And Waxman coming along as a 4-year-old now for Todd Pletcher. putting together back-to-back wins after back-to-back 3 consecutive runner-up finishes.
Yeah. Figured out that maybe he likes getting his picture taken. Still looks like a horse to me runs in a bit of stops and starts. I don't think the light bulb is fully gone on yet. And some horses it never fully does go on, but a horse that takes a ride and keeps on coming. But this was an impressive effort because he didn't have a trip that was conducive to victory.
152-4, that track record safe for now.
Nearly 6 seconds off of Riva Ridge's track record with 130 pounds. I think that's remarkable.
Back at Oaklawn, this 5th race coming up here. State-bred maiden special weight, 6 furlongs. It's a second time starter taking a lot of money, Ev Sherman. And we're going to talk plenty about Where's Randy and his debut in a moment. Let's go to Gary Stevens first.
Yeah, guys, Where's Randy? And Christian Torres heavily bet right now. And it was one of those trips in his last race, his first start of his life. It's a nightmare for a rider. He was blocked behind traffic from the word go in the race into the stretch and all the way through the stretch. He should have had his picture taken that day. And Ron Moquette actually won the race. I was stood down trackside. And Randy came up to me and he says, listen, he said, run to Randy Matthews. Don't walk to Randy Morris. Run to Randy Morris. Don't walk to Randy Morris. You got to get on that horse that finished second. I tried to do it, but he did the honorable thing. There was nothing that Christian could do that day. I bet in that spot myself, and I love that the trainer kept Christian on this horse. He should get his picture taken today, but there's a couple other horses to talk about in this race as well. The one horse, he ran decent his first out. He was actually third behind Where's Randy that day. Ricardo Santana rides back. You got to worry about the one hole today. If you get shuffled back, you're getting all that kickback, but he was quick. He did show some speed from his outside post last time out. And then the 2 horse, another horse that looks very, very quick. He showed good speed in his first out, faded late, but he's a good-looking horse down there in the paddock. Jackie's Back, the 11 horse, another one that I think is a juicy price at 16-1. He's a good-looking horse. I like his outside draw. If he comes away from there, good. Guys?
All right, thank you, Gary. Yeah, I mean, that debut from Where's Randy, it was incredibly impressive. I believe we were on the air together. I know I was on 4, but I think I was with you. But he got out of the gate slow, and he was just crying out for room. He rushed up early into traffic, had nowhere to go, had to drop back again, and just waiting for an opening, swung outside and just missed.
The fact that he even continue to rally after the trouble he had. A lot of young horses would have gotten so discouraged being held up in traffic, the kickback, everything that went wrong. So he pointed out that he was quality because he showed that he can overcome adversity. I thought that was very impressive on a lot of levels. I understand why the 2's taking all the money. Fetches Brahm is a horse that ran an open company, not race restricted to Arkansas breds. Now the full crop for
Ev Sherman.
Ev Sherman, I'm sorry. Yeah, excuse me. That's the first time started. The 2, Ev Sherman. This horse ran an open company. There were roughly 21,000 foals in North America of any state. 265 in the 2019 foal crop were Arkansas breds. So he's running in against a much smaller gene pool coming out of a fast race. Only 265 registered Arkansas breds from that foal crop.
And the horse that beat him, a Mike Maker horse that ran close to an 80 buyer in that victory, back to normal. And so, yeah, it's a big drop. Open company maiden group to state-bred Arkansas-bred maidens here. So, not to mention a bullet drill since that time as well.
Yeah, he comes back with a 36 and change on New Year's Eve, so it kind of shows that he came out of that race in good order. He showed good speed that day, and it was a fast race.
The 2 and the 6, a lot to like with both of these 2. Maybe play your exacta around those 2. 5th coming up from Oaklawn. Starts the late pick 5 sequence in Hot Springs. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
At a party. Ojitos. Street Commander. Hello, Henry. Kilgore. The last horse to load is Jackie's Back. They're at the post. They're off. Evie's Sherman breaks well, so does at a party. Alo Enria's close up. Ojitos checks off heels. Street Commander is next. Wayland Springs moves through at the rail. Kilgore in the center. Then comes Where's Randy and Orbital Star, followed by Jackie's Back, and the trailer is Fetches Brom. It is Wayland Springs. At a party. And these two are matching strides. Then a length and a half to Street Commander. Then comes Ojito at the rail. EV's Sherman is between horses and challenging for the front. 2 back to Kilgore. He's got 5 lengths to make up. Alo Henry is 6 off the lead. Where's Randy is the gray, beginning to advance. 7 from the front. Jackie's Back has 12 to make up. Then Orbital Star. And at the top of the stretch, the leader is At a Party. At a Party, a half length in front of EV's Sherman and Wayland Springs. Then comes Ojitos. Where's Randy has to go from there. He's 5 behind, and At a Party. EV's Sherman, Ojitos, and Wayland Springs come to the final 16th. Wayland Springs half ahead. Ojito to the outside. EV's Sherman between horses. Down to these 3. Wayland Springs and Ojitos. Down to these 2. Wayland Springs, Ojitos, Ojitos, Wayland Springs, Ojitos. It's close, but I think Ojitos beat Wayland Springs. Evie's Sherman and Randy's. And Where's Randy?
I'll agree with Vic Stauffer. I thought it was Ojitos as well. First time out was 20-1 on the morning line.
And this horse was very professional early in the race. In behind a wall of horses, took the kickback. In the stretch, he wouldn't switch to his right lead. You see him hanging on his left lead. You would have loved to have seen him get over to his right lead here under Alex Conchari, give him a little bit of extra energy. The one, Wayland Springs, who made a big middle move last time to be beaten by Where's Randy with that trouble, was very game as he fought it out all the way to the inside. I always find it hard to call these photos when there's that much distance between the two horses, but it feels like Vic Stauffer kind of knows the angle a little better than obviously I do.
If it is Ojitos, it's a big number on that first-time starter. Wayland Springs right there as well for Asmussen, for John Ortiz with Santana Jr. He went off at 7-2. Ojitos actually went off, Mig, you ready for this? 90-1 on the 4.
Well, let's see what the photo says, but if you had the 4 and he gets beat in those at 90-1, you're going to be upset. If he wins at 90-1, you're going to be celebrating. And a horse that didn't change leads. He's out of a mare that won her first 2 starts, but those were going 6.5 furlongs down the hill at Santa Anita. So there was precocity there, just maybe not the surface I thought he wanted.
Cameras showing the first-time starter who went off at 90-1. From the vantage point we saw, it looked like the 4. Vic Stauffer thought it was the 4, and it is indeed the 4. Ojitos by Attaboy Roy. Debut win at 90-1 to kick off this late pick 5. We may have carryover already.
90-1. So it's not exactly like this horse was showing sparkling ability in the mornings, because I'm sure more money would have showed. But I tell you, early on in the race, you could see he was traveling and he was taking the kickback and he was acting professional. The only thing he did wrong was not change leads in the stretch, but relentless in the stretch drive. The 6-horse Where's Randy, he really didn't have any excuse to say, just flat.
Meanwhile, back at Aqueduct, Waxman make it 2 for 2 now. His last couple of starts with the blinkers on for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, a horse that's just kind of relentless, a grinder, keeps at it. Jose Lezcano having to earn his money, riding him, keeping at him to hold off another horse that needs to be ridden, the 6 Winter Pool. But maybe Waxman's figuring it out now. 2nd win from 5 starts with 3 seconds.
Chad Brown winds up 2nd and 3rd. Todd Pletcher winds up with the win. Jose Lezcano filling in for John Velasquez, who'd been on this horse each of the last 3 starts. $11.60 for the win. And a 4-year-old son of Empire Maker out of a pulpit mare, appreciating that extra distance he was able to get today.
I think he really relished the 1 1/8, and I think you'll be seeing him stay at least 2 turns and beyond going forward.
3 legs into the pick 5, and that pick 3 with those 3 winners, over $200 for a $1 play, which means you're in line for something nice. Can you finish and seal the deal here in this pick 5 sequence? Features coming up next on the Sunday card here in New York. Rego Park for 3-year-olds, New York breds, and G Munning the one to beat. Very impressive debut. He was a favorite first time out for John Kimmel. And he looked the part, pulling away from a horse who would come back to win impressively as well with an 84 Beyer speed figure. Bold Journey put that horse away in the stretch. We'll have more on the feature when we come back.
Precocity.
Strategic speed. Some speed at 2, but can carry it on through their later careers.
Improbable, full of run. Improbable, now a Grade 1 winner.
It is a complete runaway, an authoritative run.
It's improbable to win the Whitney.
Introducing Adelphi Racing Club, the horse racing syndicate offering more than just fractional ownership. Enjoy the thrill of an interactive thoroughbred ownership experience competing at the sport's highest level. Attend events where you'll interact with top trainers, industry professionals, and club members. We've cheered on winners from coast to coast at top tracks such as Santa Anita and Saratoga.
And it will be Exotic West.
Become part of a group that celebrates success together. Visit AdelphiRacing.com and join the club today.
Union Rags, proving Lane's End's tried and true stallion making formula. A formula that leads to success for our partners and our stallions. He's a leader in his sire crop by graded stakes winners and Grade 1 winners. He's a commercial standout with multiple million-dollar sales and a 6-figure yearling average. And with 4 full books bred at 50 and 60,000, he has even more exciting progeny in the pipeline. Union Rags, a stallion that stands above the rest.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races program, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Feature coming up next at Aqueduct. It's the Rego Park, which is just north of Aqueduct. It's in Queens, named for the Real Good Construction Company, which developed the area at 63rd and Queens Boulevard back in 1925. The Unisphere, 150-foot steel sculpture. Most known right by that USTA Tennis Center. Designed by Gilmore Clark, stands nearby at the site of the 1964 World's Fair. So this edition of the Rego Park, look at Defuski Island. 12-1, but they're all trying to beat this horse right here for John Kimmel. G Munning, debut winner as the favorite first time out. Jose Ortiz was aboard, and we'll take a look at that performance. He did get slammed a little bit coming out of the gate. Maybe helped him if he wanted to get down to that inside post, but it was really the stretch that was the most impressive part of his race.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of incidental contact. I didn't think that really played a huge factor in anything, but he was quick. He had shown speed in the morning. I know John Kimmel's condition are very high on him. I thought he got a little bit lost here, turning for home. He kind of didn't corner really well. Looked like he was kind of waiting on horses, and took a big challenge here from Bold Journey, and then he kind of reasserted himself. You're going to kind of see Jose Ortiz get after him a little bit with the crop. He kind of kicks on again, goes on away, and the fact that Bold Journey came back and broke his maiden, I think, speaks to the quality of this effort.
With the big figure, too, yeah.
The big figure. So I think this is a horse that's shown a lot of ability, and I'm just trying to take a look to see if John Kimmel flew in to saddle this horse himself. I think that's always a tell. John in South Florida now with the main part of his stable. Doesn't look like John's saddling him, though, so I do know John's always been high on this colt.
4-5 favorite. We talked about it earlier on in the program as well. He was forward in that race near the lead, and John Kimmel's been getting him to train from off the pace since that debut performance. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Oh, Meg, don't you know it's much too cold for John to be here in New York at this time of year? But no doubt he does really like G-Money, and you can see it was evident in his first race in which he dominated on the front end. You know, with the horse that finished second to him, Bold Journey, coming back, there was a real difference in that first meeting in that G-Money was just that much more professional, that much more fit, and prepared to run well. And we saw Bold Journey off of the trainer change and private purchase dominate a field, and you could see the development from his first start to second. Now, there hasn't been that much development with G-Money because he was ready. But mentally, he's just more engaged here in the paddock. He knows what his job is. At least he's giving off that impression here in the paddock overall. I like what I'm seeing from him. I think he's a very talented horse. Obviously, they paid up for him with the $250,000 purchase price as a 2-year-old. Interesting runner in number 5, Baris, who has rattled off a series of pretty good works over the Belmont training track. But what I found interesting is it's 5 consecutive 5-furlong works. You don't often see that. So indicating that this horse has to be fit, coming back off the near 8-month layoff. Big horse. He was a big horse when he debuted early on in his 2-year-old career. He's grown even more, and he's developed. He's a lot more athletic. It does not look like he's coming off such a lengthy layoff. I think this horse is very interesting, and getting an extra furlong and a half to cover today, I think only helps his cause. I think this is one that, while he does have enough tactical speed to keep him engaged, I wouldn't be surprised if he even wants to go further than this in subsequent starts. I like what I'm seeing from Baris. I know the race is on the slower side, and Bally Shade has not come back to run that quickly, but at this point, with a newly quote-unquote turned 3-year-old, there's so much room for improvement, and I think there is improvement with Baris. Moving on to a 3rd-time starter. Agility broke his maiden in his last start. He's a quick type of runner, and he shows it. He's very much built downhill, kind of running into the ground, very elevated hindquarters to him, and well-developed behind the saddle, too. And this, with his 3rd career start in mind, this is by far the most fit that he has appeared prior to an effort. So he's going to try the 6.5 furlongs here again. Very calm and quiet. He was a little bit more lively in his last start, but I do think he's a major player too, as he ran very well in his last start for trainer Jorge Abreu. Guys?
He did indeed. Thank you, Megan. The horse that he beat, we're going to see is likely the favorite in the Nightcap, Eminency, in the 9th race. It's the Rego Park coming up next. Agility trying to spring the upset on G-Money. We'll be back with the post parade next.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Good to have you with us on this Sunday afternoon. You're watching America's Day at the Races, the feature coming up on our Sunday card here at Aqueduct. And here's our post parade. We start with Always Charming. Big long shot from the inside.
Yeah, broke his maiden, but that was for a maiden claiming tag against State Breds. Trainer Cleveland Johnson doing well with a limited amount of starters.
The one to beat, G Munning. One is the favorite in his debut.
Very impressive on debut. It'll be interesting to see the tactics they use. I hope they don't thwart his speed.
Cut the Cord won his debut against Softer Company at Finger Lakes.
Yeah, with a slowish figure, changes barn, makes first start for Jeremiah Englehart.
Next door, Unique Unions. He is quick, and he faced a good one named Gino last time out in a stakes race.
Yeah, last time, too, he had to have a shoe repair done in the paddock. Sometimes that can upset a young horse. Rick Schosberg, certainly a very capable horseman.
Baris won his debut. It was all the way back in May for Mike Maker. The Dam actually produced breakfast at Bonnie's as well. It was 3 for 5.
I like the work tab that Maggie Wolfendale pointed out. This horse steady 5 furlongs.
36-1, Bally Shade.
Now, the horse that could be a part of the pace was forwardly paced in his first 2 efforts. Not as much speed last time.
Distant third in a stake last start to Fuski Island.
Yeah, but he's been chasing Senbei, who should be a slam dunk to be 2-year-old New York bred champion.
Next door, Agility. Second time out, he was a winner as the favorite with an impressive improvement in that second start. There was a productive race, couple of winners behind him.
Yeah, horse that's quick, well-bred, practical joke, son of Into Mischief, showing Into Mischief's the sire of sires as well.
I should say a couple of runners who came back to win behind him. And then doing it the right way. This is a horse who was second to Hagler in Open Company last start. Hagler's a 2-time winner against Open Company.
And then Hagler set the pace into Jerome, probably a mile a little bit too far for him, but doing it the right way, the most experience in this field.
Big price at 19-1. Features next. Let's go to Jonathan.
Wolfie, Mig, hello. Mig, my favorite New York bred. I am... Look, I think the 2G Munning is the most likely winner. I'm a speed figure person, so I can't turn my head to a significantly better speed figure than the rest of the field type of horse. Now, sure, this horse doesn't have to win. He won first out, and that's great. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to take that next step forward. I think he likely will, but at a short price in 4 to 5, I'm going to try to look elsewhere. Now, I did use this horse in multi-race bets. I'm alive to this horse in multi-race bets, but I think the value lie with the 4 and the 5, specifically the 5. The 4 Unique Unions. This is a horse that ran well as well, going 7 furlongs. This horse was just there, just a little bit late, maybe third off of a layoff cycle. This horse will be a little bit more fit to be able to kind of carry out that distance. Has a number prior to that going 6 furlongs that makes me feel like this horse, Unique Unions, could come back and run an improved race, and the tote board suggests that's the case at 4 to 1. But I'm going to ultimately pick, officially, the 5, Baris. And there's a number of reasons why. First off, Mike Maker has never been, and I don't think he ever really will be, like first-time starter guy. That's not him. That's not what he's known for. So this horse ran extremely well first time out, and I'm expecting and hoping that he takes another step forward. He clearly had an issue, and I'm worried, is he fit coming into this? But I only have to worry for another 3 or 4 seconds because my friend Maggie Wolfendale is going to tell me how he looks.
JK, as I said in the paddock, he's ready for this return, and that work tab, I think, has gotten him where he needs to be. There's a little bit of more mental maturity that he's displaying for this effort off the almost 8-month layoff, and I hope it's just not too much weight with me and you on him, because he's going to be my pick too. And there's an air of class about him as well. And like I said, I think an extra furlong and a half only enhances his chances, because I don't think he was, as JK was saying, Mike Maker not known to win first time out, and I don't think he was cut out to be a 5 furlong horse as an early 2-year-old. So he has grown though since that, and I just appreciate that. I just like everything I'm seeing from this guy here. But taking a look at a horse who is 46 to 1 for Rudy Rodriguez. I get it. His numbers are slow. But last time out, this guy was wearing an extension blinker over his right outside eye. Today, he's outfitted with the cheater blinkers that more similar to what he wore back on October 22nd. I know Rudy likes to put a lot of his horses in extension blinkers, and there's a small percentage of horses that react positively to it, but the majority do not. So I like the fact that it's taken off. This horse physically does not look like a 47 to 1 shot. He looks maybe like to be fair, based upon his form too, a 17-to-1 shot. He looks fantastic. Matches up really well, honestly, with the favorite in here. So I like G Money and I respect him, but I will take a little shot with Baris and maybe just as a one to throw in exotics, use a little 6, Bally Shade, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. You're about to load up, and the price, while JK and Maggie were talking, has gone all the way down to 3 to 5. Heavy favoritism for G Money.
Yeah, very, very heavy favorite coming off of just a maiden victory, albeit impressive. I think this is a lot tougher. There's some questions to be answered. I thought the 4 unique unions looked fantastic in the warm-up, as did Baris growing up a lot. I landed on Denfuski Island because I think he's been chasing arguably the best 2-year-old New York bred around out there in Senbei.
4 to 5 favorite now, though it's G Money. And what will be the tactics today? John Kimmel's been trying to get him to relax a little. Will he be forward with Jose Ortiz? We know he's talented. Some issues trying to cut the cord in this 3, big long shot with Jorge Vargas.
All good horses possess speed, Greg. It's how they learn how to use it. It'll be interesting to see the tactic they take with G Money. I hope they don't try to change his style all in one race. Let things happen a little more organically.
Well, we know this guy right here, Unique Unions. He wants to be on the engine and forward with Manny Franco. It's the Rego Park Sunday feature from Aqueduct. Let's go to John Imbrial.
Ready for the 8th race, the Rego Park Stakes. And they're off. It's the Fusky Island showing first. Unique Unions now moves up to challenge. Unique Unions and the Fusky Island, they are right together. Bally Shade sits just off them in 3rd. Agility's on the outside in 4th. The favorite G Money down towards the rail and in 5th. Then comes Baris in 6th. The break of 4 to Always Charming, who's running in 7th. Cut the Cord is next in 8th. And it is a big break back to the trailer, doing it the right way in 9th. The opening quarter mile in 22 3/5 seconds over the good going here, and it is Unique Unions, the leader here by a length. The Fusky Island runs in 2nd. Agility is on the outside in 3rd. Bally Shade is next in 4th. G Money, the odds-on favorite, runs in 5th. To his outside is Baris. Unique Unions narrowly over to Fusky Island and Agility. Baris is on the far outside. G Money will look to come through down towards the rail. The half one in 46 4/5 seconds, and it is Unique Unions with the lead here. On the outside, Agility. Defusky Island is there. Baris is coming on now, out in the middle of the track as they pass the 8th pole. It is Unique Unions. Here's Agility. Here's Baris on the outside. Less than a 16th of the finish, and Baris has taken over, and it will be Baris off the pace, off the layoff, to win the Rego Park Stakes.
Baris off the layoff. He hadn't raced since May for Mike Maker. Takes the Rego Park, our Sunday feature. Welcome to those who've been watching Iowa-Nebraska Women's Hoops on FS1. Good to have you with us here on America's Day at the Races. Greg Wolf alongside Richard Migliori, Hall of Famer Gary Stevens, Jonathan Kinchin, Maggie Wolfendale, all with you as well. We just had our feature run here on the Sunday card at Aqueduct, and a bit of a surprise here, although a horse that I know some of our analysts liked.
Oh, absolutely. Baris won first time out. He was spun very wide into the stretch, but he kept coming with a relentless grinding drive. A horse that won going 5 furlongs being by Loudband, but you know, obviously appreciated a furlong and a half more because he just kept coming with that big, long stride. Another Loudband, the 4 Unique Union, showed a lot of speed, kind of tired a little bit late. The 8 Agility got his nose down in front of the 7 Denfuski Island, again, who'd been chasing Senbei. But the story is G Money. Did kind of do those rating tactics, had to take kickback, had to steady a bit into the turn. And it's just very hard to change a horse's style in one race, particularly going from maidens to winners and horses with a lot more experience.
So much can change so quickly with these 2-year-olds. They can look like stars in their debuts, and then it can all Well, they can take a big step forward or can completely change, but we'll see if G Munning what tactics will be next time out. Because we talked about they wanted to try and get him to relax and come from off the pace, and maybe on the front end, it's just where he wants to be ultimately.
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't indict him off of this one race and put a line through it, but at a very short price, there were a lot of questions to be answered, and he just didn't answer them in a way that a 3 to 5 shot you would expect would.
Meanwhile, this is a horse here, Baris, who for a 2-year-old started very early on in the year, and we didn't see him again. Not a great sign, but patiently waiting to bring him back. Mike Maker, Paradise Farms, and well worth the wait here. Goes off at 9-2, and now he takes the Rego Park.
A big, strong son of Lauban, and a good call by both Jonathan and Maggie. They like this horse. Like I said, I landed on the Fuski Island, and I sure wish he would have got his nose in front of Agility, because I wound up boxing those two, but wasn't meant to be. Big run from Baristo down the middle of the track.
Dylan Davis, he had a 3-win day yesterday. He takes the feature here on this Sunday card, 5-8-7-2 finish. We still have another race coming up here from Aqueduct, plenty more, including the feature out at Oaklawn and Hot Springs as well. We're going to say goodbye to those watching on FS2. Coverage, though, continuing and just getting started, in fact, over on FS1, so you can flip the channel. We will see you over there. We'll wrap up this feature, set up the Nightcap right after this, then we'll head out to Hot Springs for more. It's Baris, Mike Maker, off a lengthy layoff, 3-year-old debut, son of Lauban. Impressive in this Rego Park. Prices for you when we come back.
This is the horse.
He is just too good.
This is the horse who became only the second champion 2-year-old to win the Travers in 3 decades. This is the horse who is the only Breeders' Cup juvenile hero ever to lift the Belmont Stakes. History-making brilliance. That's his essential quality. Essential quality. This is the horse. Just imagine.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
For 3 generations, the Bond Racing Stable has held to a simple philosophy. If you take care of the horses, they will take care of you. That guiding principle drives every aspect of operations at the family's Songhill Farm and Racing Stables. From breeding to breaking, racing and retiring, our commitment to our horses is reflected in everything we do. Now you can join our Grade 1 winning team with racing partnerships starting as low as $3,000. Bond Racing Stables, 3 generations of thoroughbred excellence.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races here at the Big A here on FS1 as the Rego Park won by the layoff runner Baris, 2 for 2 in his career and guided to victory by Dylan Davis. And Dylan, I noticed that a horse that coming off of the layoff, you gave him a clear run. The track seems very heavy today and horses may not be handling the kickback. Talk about your trip.
Sure. I mean, first off, I liked what I saw in the paddock. He's nice, big stride, big boy, and he said he's been training great, thanks to the connections maker and Peter for giving me the opportunity. And they just said stay with the pony, keep him nice and comfortable. He's coming off. He's a good feeling horse, so I just wanted to keep him calm. And we broke well. I just didn't want to get too excited. Like I didn't want to get too aggressive with him coming out of there. I just wanted to get his stride going. He broke well for me, and he got into a good rhythm. But he started tugging me along there at the 5/8, and he was handling the kickback well for me. But it just felt like it was too much to fight with him. So I took him to the 4-path, kept him in a nice clear spot, and I felt I had a lot of horse into that turn, so I just went and let him run that turn. And then once we straightened up, his big stride handled it well, and he just handled all the way to the wire, which was great.
I was going to say 6.5 almost just feels like a starting point for him, and even more astonishing, you won at 5/8. You think longer distances are in his future?
Yes, I see that. He's a good horse, and I think that he'll handle more distance for sure. Thanks.
Well, Dylan, congratulations. Huge meet so far for you, included with this stakes win.
Thanks, Maggie. All right.
All right, Dylan Davis aboard Breeze, who looks as though he might have a very bright future, this young New York bred. Greg?
And picture time and a trophy for Dylan Davis and company, and that's a win off a 7.5-month layoff. Barris now a perfect 2 for 2 in his career as we head to Oaklawn. Muddy track in case you're just tuning in, and Hot Springs, Arkansas for the 6th race, which kicks off the late pick 4.
I think another competitive race. You're getting big fields here at Oaklawn. It's about trips. Really competitive race. I like the 2 Gambler's Fallacy a little bit. His 2 best races came at Oaklawn Park at the distance. And showing an affinity for Oaklawn.
Meanwhile, it's a 5 Colosi. Robertino Diodoro, again, M&M Racing, trying to break through together these connections. Diodoro, of course, he wins a lot here, but with these owners, they usually win a lot. Looking to win for the first time here at the meet. David Cohen will be aboard. Let's go to Vic Stauffer, race 6 here from Oaklawn Park.
The last horse to load is Botswana. They're at the post. They're off. Tashkent and King Ford break well. Colosi's asked for speed between horses. These 3 are quickest. Gambler's Fallacy, Casanova, and Pinson are next. Then to the outside in River Cactus. The 2 trailers are Botswana and Ego. It is Tashkent to clear off at the clubhouse turn. Colosi wanted the lead, but he's not quick enough to get there as Tashkent now leads by 2. Colosi will sit and attack from the outside in second. 2 lengths to Pinson and King Ford, together 3rd and 4th. Another 3 lengths to River Cactus, Gambler's Fallacy, and Casanova. They're all about 6 from the front, a length in front of Botswana, and Ego is the trailer, and Tashkent is the leader. It is Tashkent, midway on the backstretch, galloping along smartly in command. He's a 2-length leader over Colosi, who is inching incrementally closer in second. Here's Colosi within a length and a quarter. Pinson races in third, 2.5 off the lead. River Cactus and King Ford have 5 to close. Gambler's Fallacy 6 from the lead. Then Botswana and Casanova. Ego still trails, and Tashkent is now confronted by Colosi. Tashkent now just a half length in front of Colosi in second. It's 2 lengths now. 2, Pinson in third. Ego is unwinding from the back of the pack. He's last, but he's about to pass 3 or 4 horses, and here's Ego in the green cap, moving up strongly. Top of the stretch, we have a new leader. It is Colosi, but here is a sustained run from Ego, who was last at the 3/8 pole, and he is now head for the lead at the 8th pole, and now he has the lead. A massive run for Ego to lead by a length from Colosi and Gambler's Fallacy. Ego is clear. Colosi, Gambler's Fallacy, Ego indeed. Big win. Ego won by 2 1/4. Very close for second. Maybe Colosi over Gambler's Fallacy. That's an inch. Botswana might have been 4th.
Ego for Paul Holthus wins for the 8th time in his career. 7-year-old son of Quality Road.
Yeah, made this long, sustained run. You see how confident Giovanni Franco looked going to that far turn, and he just circled up and kept at it resolute. Nice job by him. Ego gets the money, his 8th career victory. Very close for second between your favorite, Colosi, and the 2-horse Gambler's Fallacy. Looked like Colosi might have held him off.
Ego likes an off track. 3 wins now from 5 tries in the off going. Back to New York. Feature. Win for the Silks of Paradise Farms. Trainer Mike Maker. Dylan Davis aboard for the winning ride on this Son of Lauban.
Yeah, big relentless run from this guy with a long stride down the center of the track. He relished going from 5 furlongs to 6.5, and he certainly has the look of horse that's going to continue to appreciate as the distances get longer.
Impressive. He debuted back on May 21st as a 2-year-old. We didn't see him again won that debut. Now he comes back against winners for the first time off this long layoff. Trying a little extra ground, and he gets the win at 9-2. One leg remaining in the late pick 5, the Nightcap coming up, and already 3 horses paying $11 or better.
Yeah, not an easy sequence at all, but good competitive races, but horses that you also can come up with.
Here's what remains on our program on FS1. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. We'll have the Nightcap, as mentioned, from Aqueduct on a track that's labeled good right now. And the feature's still ahead. That 8th race from Oaklawn. We'll have races 7 through 9 on the muddy going out in Hot Springs. That 8th race, we're going to see Night Ops, former stakes winner. He won the Essex back in 2020. He's a grade 3 winner as well. This is a look at him in the Aladar this summer at Saratoga.
Yeah, I mean, he's just had a steady diet of stakes engagements, you know, hard-knocking horse, earner of over $900,000. Yeah, he was good here in the Aladar. He was just second best to Art Collector,
who would go on to the Classic.
Yeah, so I mean, he's been keeping very good company. He was, you know, beating 5 lengths in the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup. He was running the Grade 2 Fayette, the Grade 2 Clark. Look, this is a good competitive race, but he's dropping out of graded stakes company.
Over $900,000 in earnings for him. He is taking the big drop, but you have some others like My Sixth Sense, who's a strong competitor. He's first or second in 12 of his 25 starts. He's going to have to deal with the 6 in here. Trident Hit has ability, and Tenfold on the outside is already a millionaire.
Yeah, Tenfold, you know, hard-knocking, consistent runner for Steve Asmussen and the Winchell family. It's competitive. It's tough. You know, it is glaring to me, though. I think Night Ops is getting in a spot where maybe he can get some confidence and build on, too.
Well, the Nightcap in New York, 7 furlongs, New York bred, maiden special weight. This horse is your favorite at even money. It's Eminency. He was a runner-up against Agility in his debut. Agility just ran second in the Rego Park in Stakes Company. We'll have more on this Nightcap from New York right after this.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Solomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it. The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, our program brought to you in part by NYRA Bets, where you can play all the races that we show you each and every day on the program. Go to nyrabets.com or download that NYRA Bets app to get involved. So Here's the favorite, 6-5 on Eminency, deserving favorite. Second time out for Rudy Rodriguez. He was second in his debut. He's beat a length at 17-1 to Agility. And Agility, of course, we just saw come back and run second in that Rego Park. He was 3 clear of a horse named Impressionist who would come back and win with an 82 buyer. He won by 8.5 lengths.
Yeah, and the fact that, you know, Agility just came back and ran so well in the Rego Park against Tougher. I think it complements this horse a great deal, and Eminency got a good figure and rallied well, took kickback. Does get an inside draw today, but the fact that he's shown the ability to take that kickback and be in behind horses, because he'll probably get out-footed, although you would have to think with that start he'll be a bit sharper.
Now, rider who started out this meet 0 for 29 will be aboard. That's Raul Mena. He did finally get into the win column, though, yesterday in the second race on Sibelius, so that's a good sign as well. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Well, Meg, you kind of stole my thunder a little bit because I was going to say the same exact thing. But great minds do think alike about Eminency, and that he will be quicker away from there today. He was very laid back in the paddock. Just it seemed as though he started figuring out what this game was about midway through that last race, and obviously running well, as you guys had mentioned. Many horses coming out of there. Impressionist came back to win with a big figure. Boss making boss moves, who ran 5th that day, came back and won too. He's just so much more forward and engaged and sharper here in the paddock. So I like the look of him first time out. It's just mentally he knows why he's here today. Should be forward. As we'll move on to a horse, I liked him last time he faced New York breds. I like him here again, number 4, Caveman, and he gets to the 7 furlongs. He came up a bit short against Open Company, albeit down at Parks. I think the 7 furlongs suits him well. He is a very big horse, but he's also a very keen individual this time around. He looks great. He looks far more together, far fitter. He's on his toes the entire time with those shortcut cheater blinkers on. Gets Lasix for this second try against State Bred Company. I think Caveman at a big price is very, very interesting. First time starter, 1 of 2 in this field. Number 5, State Planning, a son of Liam's Map. The Dam was a win early type and just a plain winner. I mean, she won 4 of her 6 career starts. The siblings haven't been quite as good as she, but they did. She has produced winners, and they were dirt sprinters. He's a big, burly guy, and he's just very robust, and I appreciate that, but he's not the type that's screaming, I'm going to win first time out. He does show up wearing front wraps, shows up wearing a short cheater cut blinker. He just looks like he's going to benefit from a start to really gain that race fitness. Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. State Planning, 6-1 right now. The Dam, for what it's worth, of this horse, won her debut. And the Grand Dam, horse named Bedside Manor, who was 7 for 12 lifetime, won the Schenectady with a 102 buyer. She started her career 5 for 5.
Trained by Michael Hushin, Sugar Maple Farm, bred and campaigned her. This horse also bred by Sugar Maple Farm. Just a bit more than a stone's throw from where I live.
Meanwhile, here's Caveman. So this is the one Maggie likes at 11-1. Cutting back in distance from a mile 70, and the 7/8 distance, maybe that's the biggest question mark for Eminency here in start number 2. But for Caveman, you would think, having run so well at a mile 70, this cutback's going to be perfect for him.
Yeah, especially with that foundation building 2-turn mile and 70-yard race at Parks where he was in front. You know, those kind of races put the foundation or the air into horses, if you will, because 7/8 is a bit of a tough distance. The other thing I'll throw into that could be problematic for Eminency, post 1, you're breaking in that chute at Aqueduct. There's a lot of empty space. You're breaking right across where they pull the extension rail out, the temporary rail. And some young horses have a tendency to break and run to empty space. I always liken it to water. Water flows to empty space. A lot of young horses will as well.
We'll see if he can overcome it. He went 6.5 furlongs in the debut, trying to get to 7 furlongs this afternoon. There he is, son of Cupid. Second time out for Rudy Rodriguez, with a young rider trying to establish himself here in New York.
Yeah, you know, and I haven't watched him as closely as I would like to. I'm sure I'll get to see more and more of him. But so many young riders come to New York in the winter months. It's a proving ground. You see a lot of apprentices start their career, myself included, really got my career started in the winter here in New York because, you know, a lot of the guys that want to follow the good 3-year-olds, horses on the Kentucky Derby trail, they're going to go and train in warmer climates. The riders want to be close to those horses.
And there's Rudy Rodriguez giving that young rider, Raul Mena, leg up on the 3-2 favorite. So we'll see if he can get it done for the Rudy Rodriguez barn here. It was 17-1 in the debut, and he ran so good. Now he's a 3-2 favorite in start number 2 coming up. And no question, he is the one to beat here. But you got a horse outside, too, Hot Stepper. We'll get to him momentarily. Coming out of a stake, who's 5-1 taking play. But here's Eminency. Again, second time out, Son of Cupid.
Ran extremely well on debut, took kickback, showed some professionalism. He's by Cupid. At 15% winners with his first crop.
Bert, he's 6-1. He's a second-time starter with a lot of changes here.
A lot of changes, gets Lasix for the first time, blinkers on, and keeps Jose Lezcano. I find that interesting.
He's got it for Mark Henig's second time out.
Yeah, it gets to dirt. The sire, Central Banker, 17% winners with dirt sprinters as opposed to 8% on turf. This horse did debut on turf.
Looking at the 5 right now, that's the first-timer state planning with that interesting pedigree we talked about.
Yeah, definitely more speed on the dam side than the sire side.
Raw Courage, 8th time out.
Yeah, has hit the board 4 times, tries.
First-time starter here, Beach Boy Al.
Yeah, Bruce Levine, certainly very capable at firsters, puts his main man Kendrick Carmouche aboard.
Devious Banker, we'd buy he'll step up in class and a slight cut back in distance. And here's Class AJ.
Class AJ, plenty of tries too. His run okay, he's kind of nibbled around the edges, could improve.
And here's Hot Stepper. This is a horse coming out of the stakes last time out at 7/8.
I think this horse is very interesting, and I think the outside post really aids Hot Stepper. He's a horse that's been slow early in his races, not always quick out of the gate. Last time I thought was a step forward, a race where I actually think this horse started to figure out his job. If he got another step forward in him, he can be a contender.
Jonathan says all the time to Chad or not to Chad, and you're going to do the Rudy Rod here, JK.
Oh, to Rudy Rod. Yeah, he's not much of a bowler, Rudy. I mean, he's okay sometimes, but he's probably more bad majority of the time that he's not being good. But he does know how to train a racehorse, and I think this horse is going to move forward off of that last performance. And if you look at pace figures, which I do, whether it's Timeform US or other places have pace figures, it's a number that lets you know how fast the horses were running earlier in the race. The speed figure, the Bayer speed figure, Time US speed figure, is more of a final time number. But I like to know what happens within the race. Eminency ran fast basically the entire race and sustained that fast pace throughout that entire race of the 6.5. So the idea is when you stretch to 7, the way that Eminency ran, the stamina should be there to maintain that quicker pace going 7. And I just feel like a second time out, adding Lasix, you're going to see a better performance from Eminency. And drawing the rail isn't necessarily a bad thing to me. This horse it has some experience being the second time out. And when you're on the best horse and you're on the rail, I know the rider's going to kind of be aggressive sending away from there. No one takes back from the rail with the best horse in the race. Well, no one who can stay on the NYRA circuit for very long. So I'm hopeful that Eminency will be put into this race and will wire them around there, at least get position moving forward, and should be tough in here. I guess you got to be concerned about some of the first-time starters, but I'll lean on the 1 Eminency here.
And so will the public as well, JK. Thank you. Eminency from that inside post, 6-5 favorite. Let's go to Maggie for more.
Maybe it is as simple as Eminency in here, but you know, you're just taking the worst of it at his current price as opposed to the 17-1 that you were getting first time out. And I just think it's a big field full of interesting options, and a horse that you were discussing, Greg, in Hot Stepper on the outside, he is taking some play, and this is by far the most revved up I've seen him prior to his races, and the fittest. Now, it does bother you a little bit maybe that he debuted and ran subsequently in a maiden 42 times to start his career, but showed some life in that New York Stallion Series race. And with the addition of Lasix, it just feels as though this is a horse that has had to develop a little bit mentally as well. So I think he is an interesting proposition. We'll take a look at a first-time starter ridden by Kendrick Carmouche. In number 7, that is Beach Boy Al, a son of Unified. They only paid $25,000 for this guy at the Fasig-Tipton Timonium sale. The dam was a decent dirt sprinter, and the dam half to I'm Stoked, who is a New York bred stakes winner sprinter on the dirt. Now, I liked him. He did everything right in this debut. He's wearing a pretty big pair of blinkers, so we'll see. Does he show some speed here? He wasn't necessarily that sharp in the preliminaries in the paddock or out on the racetrack, but he does look healthy. He looks conditioned. Does he need a start? I feel as though he needs a start to maybe get just a little bit sharper and just a little bit more fit, but one that I really want to watch with interest because I did like him. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. Meanwhile, the favorite being a little obstinate, waiting to get in there from that inside post with Raul Mania, and eventually gets in. Even money.
I liked when I had post 1 and my horse was reluctant to go in because they do a split load. You got half the field starts from the outside, so they go from the middle to the outside, the inside to the middle. Let some of them guys load first. I don't want to be in there as long as possible. And we saw the rider there kind of get off and shimmy his saddle back a little bit. Probably felt like his saddle was a little too far forward.
A horse who finished ahead of MNC last time out, Agility. He just ran second in the stake. Can this horse handle the stretch out to 7 furlongs? He was impressive in the debut. No question the one to beat here to close out this Sunday card from New York. Still plenty coming up from Oaklawn as well, including their feature. As we look at Caveman about to move in. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the Nightcap from New York.
We're set for the 9th race, Nightcap. And they're off. Very slow start for number 5, State Planning, and he trails the field. Clash AJ was away well, but quickly has a lot of company. It is a Raw Courage right there, Caveman, and on the outside, Beach Boy Al. The favorite Eminency is down at the rail and racing in 4th. He's got it his next in 5th. Then comes Devious Banker running in 6th. Clash AJ now back in 7th. Hot Stepper has made his way over to the inside and is running in 8th. And farther back the trailers, State Planning and Bert. As they race up the backstretch, it is Raw Courage with the lead here by a little more than a length. And Beach Boy Al runs in 2nd. The quarter went in 22 and 4/5 seconds. Caveman is next in 3rd. Eminency is down at the rail in 4th, a half dozen lengths from the lead. He's got it is on the outside, next in 5th, followed by Clash AJ, and then Hot Stepper. At the front, it is Raw Courage and Beach Boy Al. The two of them coming to the stretch together. The half one in 46 and 3. It is Beach Boy Al on the outside and Raw Courage on the inside. They are right together. Farther back, it's Clash AJ. Eminency. Caveman is on the outside. Down at the rail, it is Hot Stepper with a 16th to the finish. Beach Boy Al, Roy Courage. Gaining ground at the rail, Clash AJ and Hot Stepper. Here comes Hot Stepper up the inside. Looked like Hot Stepper got it right there in a photo with Clash AJ.
Maybe Hot Stepper, Trevor McCarthy, Charlie Baker, horse coming out of a stakes race last start.
This is a horse that has shown steady improvement, not figuring the game out. It's close, but it looks like, yeah, he's got his head down in front. And this is as good a ride as you are going to see. From post 10, Hot Stepper broke okay. Trevor got him to go forward, dropped all the way to the inside, saved every inch of ground coming into the stretch. He came around one horse, ducks back to the fence here, and just a relentless drive. And this was Trevor's second win of the day, but this was as good a ride as you're going to get. When you win by a head and you make all those moves that make the difference, this is when a rider plays a big role in a horse's victory. The one-horse Eminency looked like he was kind of running in stops and starts till he got out in the clear. But here comes your winner, Hot Stepper, who did improve in his fourth start.
Big time. He was touting himself early on in the race, too. He looked the part and lives up to the billing here. Does so at 6-1 to close out this card here in New York. Again, we still have plenty still ahead from Oaklawn, including their feature. But here it's Hot Stepper. And it did seem like for Eminency, it took him a long time to get him going. He finally did start to kick in a little bit late, but it was too late.
Well, again, you know, a young horse, inside post, even though he took kickback first time, post one, a bunch of horses were able to fold over. There was a lot of speed on early, very fast pace for these kind of horses. They came home fairly slow, 14 and 5th basically for the last 1/8 of a mile, but Hot Stepper got it done. How about Clash AJ at 63-1? He rallied in concert with the winner, Hot Stepper. They both rallied inside, and Raw Courage at 23-1. So we're talking about huge prices, your tries, exactas, and wow.
6-1 over 63-1 over 22-1 for your trifecta. It's going to be huge. And in tight down the stretch, what does that feel like to be in such tight quarters coming down the stretch?
It feels fine when you've got horse. It's when you don't have a lot of horse that you worry about it. But Trevor, you could see, was resolute. He had a plan. He got to the inside. Not an easy thing to do with all the kickback, having to change goggles. But it's a tremendous way to finish this great day of racing.
Well, a lot more, as mentioned, coming up from Oaklawn on the muddy going. This race preceding the feature, and this is Fillies and Mirrors. The 3 to 5 favorite, Sarah Harper. She got beat, ending a 2-race win streak last time out. She got beat at 3 to 5. With more, let's head out to Hot Springs and Gary Stevens. All right, we apologize. Some technical difficulties there with Gary. We'll try and get back to him in a moment. Now 1-2. And look, Sarah Harper, she's got a ton of talent, but she really had no excuse in that last start. I don't think she's facing as tough a field as she was facing when she got beat in that race, but she's got a little bit to prove here.
Well, absolutely. And the thing that could potentially make her vulnerable, and I'm a fan, by the way. I like this filly a great deal. She does have some speed signed on directly outside of her in Alberta's Sun. And that's the key to the race. How hard does Alberta's Sun take it to Sarah Harper? When you have two horses with speed drawn next to each other, sometimes that creates more pace. Things heat up a bit more.
All right, let's check back in with Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, what I was saying before my mic failed me is we're going to go back, take a look at Sarah Harper's last race. I think that she could have won that last race. I do think she had an excuse. She went quicker than she needed to go early on, and no fault of David Cabrera that day. Just got away from him a little bit, and there was pressure on the inside, coming on the inside, and I think that she went a little bit quick. She's a filly that does not need the lead. Ricardo Santana aboard today. He realizes that, but the inside draw, as Richie was talking about, not exactly the place you want to be down on the inside, because there is that speed directly to her outside in Alberta's Sun. There's another speed horse in Northern Diamond with Ramon Vasquez, who is also an aggressive rider. Look for them to try and put pressure, but don't be surprised if Ricardo Santana takes back a little bit and rides with a little more confidence, not needing the lead. They've showed that they can come from off the pace today on this racetrack. You don't need to be on the lead. So I look for Ricardo to just let her float away from the starting gate, not really ask a whole lot, and possibly try and work his way to the outside for a little better trip today, guys.
It'll be interesting to see, because you have the presence, mainly of the 6, who's extremely quick, and Alberta's Sun, the 3's not slow either, but we know the 6 wants the front. But yesterday in the feature, Ricardo Santana Jr., he put Coach a totally different race. It was a mile race, but he put that filly in the lead, and it paid off being aggressive. He's very often aggressive, and if you have the best horse in the race, which he does, or most believe, would you want to not play any games and just try and shoot her out of there?
Well, it's just so tough. I think you got to come out running, but do you really want to get hooked in an all-out speed duel with the likes of the 6 Northern Diamond, who's very fast, and or the the 3, Alberta's Son. I think you come out running, and if they're intent, then you try to moderate a little and work your way to the clear. I think he's in a tricky situation, though. I think he's going to have some decisions to make early on.
1-2 favorites, Sarah Harper. Let's go to Jonathan for more.
Yeah, this is a situation where I just don't trust her. You know, look, she seems to be slowing in her races late. She's going a little bit further than I think she maybe wants to. She's going to have some real horses running at her. Look, I love speed, and I think that speed horses are horses that often win a lot. But I think the 4, Break Curfew, and the 8, Novell Squall, are 2 horses I think could run her down late.
All right, Jonathan, thanks. They're just about loaded. The 2, Sarah Harper, the odds-on favorite, trying to get back into the winner's circle. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
2 more, Cherished and Novel Squall. They're at the post. They're off. Cherished and Alberta's Son with Sarah Harper away a close third. Then Northern Diamond, followed by Break Curfew and Recoded, and the trailer is Novel Squall. Match racing up the backstretch with Sarah Harper and Alberta's Son. Sarah Harper now a half length in front. Alberta's Son is second, and these 2 are flying along. 3.5 to Cherished. Another 4 lengths to Northern Diamond. Novel Squall 4 wide, Recoded at the rail, and Break Curfew is the trailer. 3 furlongs from the money. Sarah Harper is now clearly in front. Sarah Harper, a length and a quarter from Alberta's Son in second. Cherished continues to race in third. She's 2.5 from the front. Novel Squall closer in fourth with 3.5 to make up. Break Curfew is about to take fifth. Northern Diamond Recoded. Sarah Harper, the one to catch. Sarah Harper at the top of the stretch. It's a 2-length lead on Alberta's Son in second. Cherished is third. Novel Squall fourth, and Break Curfew. Sarah Harper a final furlong, and now a full 3 lengths in front. Novel Squall is closing in the center of the racetrack, but she's also running out of ground. Sarah Harper is clear. Novel Squall going to get into second. Sarah Harper, Novel Squall, Sarah Harper. Sarah Harper beat Novel Squall by a length. Alberta's Son was third, and Break Curfew finished fourth.
Sarah Harper makes amends for that defeat last time out. She's down with 3 of her last 4 starts, and Ricardo Santana Jr., he was aggressive early on her.
Yeah, allowed her to use her speed, roll away from there. She drifted through the stretch out towards the center of the course, but she was well clear and gets back on track. It's a very talented filly. And I always get a kick out of when I see a horse that's owned in full or part by the breeder, because so much goes into deciding what mare to send, what stallion to send the mare to, and raising a horse to be rewarded with a horse that you not only own but you breed. So congratulations to the connection. Sarah Harper, one very fast filly.
3 wins, 5 career starts now for this daughter of Vancouver for Ron Moquette. Ricardo Santana Jr. on board for the winning ride, and she was impressive today. There was no slowdown in her down the stretch. Wins at odds on. Back to New York in the Nightcap at Aqueduct, and hot stepper Trevor McCarthy in tight quarters down the stretch, just up for the win.
I love when you can watch your riders every move and kind of think it through with them, see what they're going to do. It looked like at one point Trevor might tip out, and he made the idea or the assumption that I can't come around and win, and that's when he kind of headed back to the inside, stuck to the rail, comes battling through along the inside, strong handling, and I just think this was a tremendous ride that made all the difference.
Split-second decisions. Opts to go down to the inside on the fence in tight quarters, and this horse responds. Had debuted first couple of starts against a lot easier company, then jumped into stakes competition, and now finally able to break his maiden here career start number 4. Does so returning $14.60 for the win. Pick 5, a very generous $16,587.
Wow. And how about the exactive for $1? 10 over 9, $275.
Here's how the pick 5 played out. $18 to start it with ouch, ouch, ouch. The speed of Deputy Flag and an apprentice rider going gate to wire. Burris taking the feature, beating a short price favorite in G Money. And if you could put that together, 16,000 plus. Showdown standings, free to enter. No excuse not to play this. You're competing for real prizes as well. Willie's Way creates a $325 bankroll to take top spot. Go to NYRA.com/showdown to get involved every day on our program. Put in your selections, and best of luck. We're going to take a timeout. We still have the feature ahead from Oaklawn. We just saw Ron Moquette take the 7th. Well, he lost one of his real good ones. His superstar sprinter, Whitmore, recently retired, but will not soon be forgotten in Hot Springs.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, multi-millionaire Shivaji, plus these standout performers. Now his biggest book in the past decade will be 3-year-olds in 2022. A proven value sire, First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com.
Spun to run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, Spun to run, standing at Gainesway.
For 3 generations, the Bond Racing Stable has held to a simple philosophy. If you take care of the horses, they will take care of you. That guiding principle drives every aspect of operations at the family's Songhill Farm and Racing Stables. From breeding to breaking, racing and retiring, our commitment to our horses is reflected in everything we do. Now you can join our Grade 1 winning team with racing partnerships starting as low as $3,000. Bond Racing Stables, 3 generations of thoroughbred excellence.
Whitmore looms large in the center of the racetrack. Here comes Whitmore outside of Hidden Scroll. Share the Upside, still very much part of this battle, and Whitmore has put his head in front. It is Whitmore now a length and a half in front of Share the Upside. Then to the inside, and Manny Waugh, he's gonna do it again. Look at this race horse. Flagstaff just ran into second. It is Whitmore.
He was so much fun to watch. He was so dominant as a sprinter, especially on this circuit for so long. And it's amazing to think that this horse was in the Kentucky Derby. He was on the Triple Crown Trail. And then when they finally realized sprinting is what he wanted to do, he really took off.
I just love when a horse comes back year after year, has these multiple campaigns that people become fans. He creates a fan base. You're looking forward to seeing him, and he was a character. He was a horse that did things with a style, a panache, if you will, and showed up. He tried hard, and I love my horses like I love my people, hardworking and honest.
Here's a look at the resume. It is pretty impressive. 15 career victories, including that Breeders' Cup Sprint, over $4.5 million in earnings, and really hats off to Ron Moquette and the job he did with this sprinter year after year. Well, mention the name Whitmore to anyone in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and you're likely to get a very big smile along with some very fond memories to share. He was the dominant sprinter in the Midwest for nearly 5 full seasons, including that championship season with his Breeders' Cup Sprint victory. Now in retirement, his longtime home bears his name, along with many other honors to ensure that his legacy in Hot Springs will live on.
These days, Whitmore has taken up residence at 10 Mile Creek Training Center, about 20 miles from Oaklawn.
Everything, it has to be his idea. I don't care whether it's loading a trailer, loading the gates, go to the paddock, everything has to be like he's asking us if he can do it. Because if we say you're going to do this, he flexes on you and says, no, I don't want to until it's my idea.
Things are noticeably different in Ron Moquette's barn at Oaklawn. Stall number 29 is no longer housed by the Eclipse Award winner, who bankrolled $4.5 million during his career.
But the old man's gonna do it! It's Whitmore in the Breeders' Cup Sprint!
Oaklawn has renamed the Count Fleet barn after the gelding, Whitmore's longtime home in Hot Springs the past 6 years. And on March 19th, Oaklawn celebrates his accomplishments on Whitmore Day. The card will feature the inaugural Whitmore Stakes, formerly called the Hot Springs Stakes, a race Whitmore won a record 4 times.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be, I'll be there with the rest of the people showing appreciation for all that he's done and sit back and look at the accomplishments and how he's affected people, and it'll be good to recognize him.
The big question is, how involved will the headstrong gelding be on Whitmore Day?
Maybe go up there and let Laura ride him out with the horses in post parade, if we can. If he's not ready mentally or whatever, then we'll just bring him up there so everybody can see him.
And the bigger question, what's next for Whitmore beyond 2022?
One thing for sure is it's with us. The path for sure isn't known, whether he's a jumper or a lead horse or just, in charge of grazing all he wants all day. It doesn't matter. He's going to be doing something with us. We hope that he could be a barn pony, because that would be cool for people to come by and get to hang out and visit him and feed him peppermints and him get to go everywhere with us. But if not, then we would like for him to do something to stay busy, and I think he's perfectly healthy enough to do it. It's just whether or not mentally he's okay with going that slow.
One thing's for certain, Whitmore will have a presence at Moquette's stable. Plus, Whitmore's 3-year-old half-brother, Arrogate Spirit, is expected to make his debut at Oaklawn this season. Well, that's going to be really fun to watch the legacy kind of live on with his sibling there. But a horse who deserves all the accolades, especially a horse who's so popular in Hot Springs at Oaklawn.
Big shoes for the younger brother to fill, no doubt. But I tell you what, I applaud everybody at Oaklawn for having the presence of mind to put this on Whitmore Day, acknowledging how much he's meant to the fans there, and people have really attached themselves to him and the character he is. I would like more racetracks to embrace that and showcase these horses when their careers are over, because they do have fans. People love them.
Been fun to watch him do his thing. We've got the pleasure of being able to watch him do it on this program year after year after year. Let's go to Gary Stevens. Gary, what has Whitmore meant to Oaklawn and to the fans out there as well?
Well, it's not just Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's the entire state of Arkansas. Whitmore was their horse. They've seen a lot of good horses come through Hot Springs for the Southwest, the Arkansas Derby, and so many other great races here in Arkansas, but they've never had any horse that is their horse. And the people of Arkansas, they love their Razorbacks and football, basketball, but they love their racing here. They know their racing, and they considered Whitmore their own horse. And they continue to consider Whitmore as their greatest horse ever that was stabled here for so long at Oaklawn Park. So tremendous fans here, not only in Hot Springs, but the entire state of Arkansas, guys.
Well, it's going to be fun to see if they pull out all the stops on Whitmore Day, and to see what we know how obstinate he's been too. I mean, he is a character, and we heard it in that piece from his trainer Ron Moquette as well. If he'll be able to settle down a little bit and be a stable pony, because the most famous kind of stable pony there is out there right now, I guess probably Lava Man out of the West Coast.
I have a hard time seeing Whitmore settle into that role as stable pony. He kind of wants to be the boss. He does things his own way. He's got his own style. Enough can't be said about Ron Moquette and the handling and management of Whitmore. For a sprinter to earn over $4.5 million and hold his form for as many campaigns as he did, we can't understate the job, or we can't overstate, excuse me, the job Ron Moquette. Incredible job he did.
Yeah, to keep a horse as a sprinter too, it's really tough to keep sprinters together sometimes, and to do it for that long.
Yep.
Just an incredible job from Ron Moquett. Back in the 7th at Oaklawn. Speaking of Ron Moquett, got a pretty good filly as well here in Sarah Harper, who's now won 3 of her last 4.
Well, Sarah Harper, you know, finished 3rd last time, but she said, I'll be back. And she comes back with a big run here.
Does she get stall 29?
I tell you what, she kind of earned it. I mean, she's showing the consistency and the speed, and a crackerjack sprinter in her own right. Sarah Harper, daughter of Vancouver, rebounds off of a 3rd-place finish last time, but she's honest, shows up. Got to admire and appreciate her. Ron Moquett. His house is right there, basically on the grounds of Oaklawn Park.
And there he was in the winner's circle, getting the picture taken with a talented filly. But yeah, he has one of the best vantage points of anybody at Oaklawn, with his house there in the backstretch.
What more could you want? Walk out of your house and right onto the backstretch.
Not too bad. Feature coming up next here at Oaklawn. Mile and 3/16 in allowance optional claiming field, and night ops for reigning champion trainer Brad Cox. Horse dropping out of a grade 1. A horse to beat, but night ops, yeah, he has certainly something to prove here, even though he's been facing a lot tougher company. Looking to end a 9-race winless streak, I should say. We'll be back, see if he can do it right after this.
Run Happy is the #1 second crop sire by stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual Future Pool 1 favorite. A leading dirt sire, and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
For a time, as many as 350 major league players converged in Hot Springs, Arkansas each spring to prepare for the upcoming season.
Ownership felt they needed to boil out the alcoholic microbes. Hot Springs was known as a place that had therapeutic waters, and they came for that reason. And then the ball players turned out to love it because they really not only did get in shape, but they had a great time.
By the 1930s, nearly half of all major league teams had, at some point, used Hot Springs as their spring training base. Plus, about half of all prominent ball players visited Hot Springs individually. Babe Ruth used to visit Hot Springs to work his way into shape, a place to prepare for spring training. In fact, the Babe even used the hot healing waters to recover from influenza. This wall at the Gangsters Museum of America in Hot Springs represents the long list of Hall of Fame baseball greats who trained here.
The winter storm of 2021 is a reminder of why baseball eventually migrated away from hot springs. The rain proved to be a disruption, and sometimes even the cold and snow wiped out valuable practice time. Although by the 1930s most teams moved to Florida and Arizona, Hot Springs would continue to be a destination for players to work out before joining their major league squads for decades to come. A rich tradition in Hot Springs of some of the best baseball players heading to the area, and of course, the most notorious gangsters of the time heading to the area as well.
It was like a truce zone, a safe zone. They all got along down there, and then they'd go back to their respective neighborhoods, and then it was back on. But I actually did that gangster tour there. I thought it was tremendous.
Got to do it if you make a trip to Oaklawn, no question. We got this feature coming up. Mile 3/16 Preakness distance here in this feature on the card in even money on night ops for Brad Cox, the 6-year-old, trying to inch a little closer to the $1 million mark in earnings. And he has just been tackling as tough as you can, basically, for a long time, but trying to end a fairly long winless streak here, 0 for his last 9.
This is his first time dropping back into allowance company on his recent form, on his recent page. A steady diet of stake races, and he's done well. He's tried, he's competed, he's shown up. I think they're probably trying to get a race into him that he can build on, something to give him a little bit of confidence. You know, horses get mad. They lose races. You go back to the barn and see them when they lose the good ones, and they're mad. They're in the back of their stall. They don't want to look at anybody. They pin their ears. They get upset, and horses feed on the energy around them. When horses win, everybody around them's happy, jubilant. They feed on that positive energy.
And you can see why Brad Cox gave him these shots against top company, including that Grade 1 Clark. I mean, this summer at Saratoga, that second to Art Collector, he ran one of the best figures of his career, and Art Collector was a very serious horse in that handicap division and went to the Classic. Here's You're to Blame now with Rob Atras.
Yeah, first time at Oaklawn after running. Well, he's run at Oaklawn before, but he ran in the Queens County last time, well beaten.
Strong tide. He's had a lot of success on the turf.
Yeah, can he compete at this level on the dirt? That's a big question.
6 years old now, son of Warriors Reward. Night ops for champion trainer Brad Cox.
Expect him to be forwardly placed. I don't see a tremendous amount of speed signed on here. Has a long run to that first turn with the 1 3/16 distance.
Now maybe this is the horse to take advantage of the lack of speed in here. My sixth sense, blinkers come off.
Yeah, and he looks like he could be the speed here of this affair. Does take the blinkers off. Sometimes that helps the horse hit the front. They really relax. Their ears come up. It'll be interesting to see if he makes an easy leap.
Tyshawn, he comes off a win at 1 1/16 at this track.
Kind of a relentless, grinding type of horse.
Trident hit. He's 7-1 for Ron Moquette.
Well, Ron Marquette, a horse that has races that are certainly good enough, and he has shown good form at Oaklawn.
And the winningest trainer in North American history, sending out this already millionaire tenfold.
You know, this horse sometimes his first couple of steps out of the gate aren't his best. I think the outside post, even though I'm not a fan of outside posts in two-turn races, actually could benefit him to get in stride and put himself forward. I think he runs his best when he is forwardly placed.
So the target squarely on the back of Night Ops. He's the horse to beat, especially coming out of the Grade 1 Clark. Florent Giroux will be aboard. Gary Stevens, what are his options here aboard the horse to beat?
Listen, if the odds are correct, it should be just a steer job, but it's not just a steer job. I look for Florent, and what I would do is make sure he gets away cleaner than he did in the Clark. He was bumped and bounced around in the Clark, lost position early on. This is a fairly short field. He's got a target on his back, so get him away from there clean, get him into a nice rhythm going in with this long run going into the first turn, and just let him get into that good stride that he has, and hope that he's underneath him and traveling well. The conditions are perfect for a horse like this today. Horses are coming from everywhere. They're winning on the lead. They're coming from well off of the pace. So the track conditions should not be a problem. I think the problem for him is going to be tenfold. Another horse in here that's he's tried the best of the best before. They got him back in allowance conditions and easier spots, and he's earned over $1,200,000, and so he's got a lot of back class. I think that's the worry that he's got to have. But listen, at the end of the day, when they close the starting gates, Florent Giroux, he's ridden in enough of these big races, and this is only an allowance race, but it's still big. You still feel a little bit of an edge, and I'm sure that he wants this horse to win as much as anybody else in the barn, you guys.
Gary talked about Tenfold on the outside, that 9-horse who's at 7-2. You know, Night Ops has danced some big dances, but this is a horse who, in his day, danced some big ones as well. He's grade 1 placed.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, but it speaks to the quality that we talk about at Oaklawn. You put up $102,000 for an allowance race, which is a stake in a lot of other jurisdictions. People are going to show up. You have to run. There are no layups there. There are no gimmies. And the fact that you have so many horses congregating at Oaklawn for the winter from so many different jurisdictions, that's what, to me, makes it such a tough place to handicap. Night Ops, I'm a fan. I think he'll be forwardly placed. But he is no layup here at all.
It's very short price on a horse who certainly has some things to prove. You're looking at the 1, that's You're to Blame. He's gone to a few different barns. We remember him here certainly in New York. He was with Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher for some time. And when he was with Pletcher, I mean, he was winning marathon distance races on the dirt.
Yeah, but he's a horse that's more of a natural closer, and I'm just not sure that the projected pace of this race is going to benefit him. I don't think he's going to get a pace flow that's going to be conducive to his style.
Meanwhile, there is potentially the one who's going to be in front. In My Sixth Sense.
Horse that's got good form, not only elsewhere, but certainly at Oaklawn Park. Some of his better races being at Oaklawn. Speed's always dangerous. A horse that should be forwardly placed. Martin Garcia is a rider that is aggressive, understands the value of speed. I think they'll all be chasing him early. I think he will be your pace setter.
He was on the lead when he met Night Ops last year, or I should say 2 years ago now, in that grade 3 Cornhusker. He wound up second to him, a distant second. We'll see if he can seal the deal today and finish the job. Let's go to Jonathan for more.
Yeah, guys, there's a couple horses in here that make some sense to me. Obviously, the favorite, Night Ops. He's been facing tougher. He gets an easier group. Distance shouldn't be a problem for Night Ops. He's a grindy type of racehorse that, if you look at him from a class standpoint, you look at him from his style, he's got a really good shot of winning this race. But I do feel like the 1 You're to Blame at least deserves a little consideration. This is a horse that ran some really nice races for Todd Pletcher. Going longer distances. He ran okay for Ron Moquette. He ran huge for Orlando Noda. And then he comes to the Brown Actress barn. He runs okay first time out. And Actress finds it necessary to put him on an airplane and try him in a race like this, going 1 mile and 3/16. So I'm just hoping that maybe that good You're to Blame shows up. And at 10-1, I think it's a fair enough price to hope and assume that that could be the case. But if Night Ops shows up, gets a clean trip, I think he'll grind them down. So it's basically one of those situations on what you're trying to accomplish here, whether you're playing doubles, playing exactas, or looking to bet to win. I think the value is the 1, but I think that the most likely winner is the 4.
And again, the public would agree, and that's why Night Ops is 4-5 in this spot. You know, back to You're to Blame for a moment. He's proven over his career, his best distances are 1.5 miles and beyond.
Yeah, he's a horse that stamina is his strong suit. He gets a lot of air. I just wonder where he'll be placed early here. He seems to have lost a little bit of his speed in a race that's devoid of a tremendous amount of speed. Does it put him at a disadvantage?
Can Night Ops end that winless streak? He'll break from post 4. Florent Giroux for trainer Brad Cox. It's the feature on the Sunday card from Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. My Sixth Sense, without being asked, goes to the front from Trident Hit away in second. Strong Tide away third. Between horses, Tyshawn, and here's Tyshawn to put his head into second. Then comes You're to Blame and Tenfold, and the trailer is Night Ops. So it will be Tyshawn, who has the lead from My Sixth Sense, who sits in second, and these two just amble along. My Sixth Sense is going to let Tyshawn clear off, and he does. He's a 2-length leader. My Sixth Sense angles to the outside for his attack in second. Trident Hit and Strong Tide are together. They're third and fourth and about 3 from the uncontested front-running Tyshawn. Then comes Tenfold. He's fifth with about 5 lengths to make up, and it's another 3.5 back to the 2 trailers, You're to Blame, and Night Ops as they run up the backstretch, and Tyshawn is the boss. Tyshawn gallops along with a 2-length lead over My Sixth Sense in second. It's a length and a half to Strong Tide and Trident Hit. They're right together, third and fourth, and 3 from the lead. Then comes Tenfold. He's got 5 lengths to make up. If You're to Blame or Night Ops wins, they'll run very big, closing into easy fractions. They leave the backstretch, and Tyshawn is still the leader. Less than 3 furlongs from the money. Tyshawn leads My Sixth Sense only by a neck. Strong Tide is put to a full-out drive. He's within a length and a quarter of the lead. Trident Hint is next. Strong Tide is now up into a joint second. 4 back to Tenfold. Night Ops has got to go from there. He's still 7 lengths behind our new leader at the top of the stretch, which is Strong Tide. Strong Tide is a neck in front of My Sixth Sense in second, and now it's a full length. My Sixth Sense is second. Then comes Trident Hit and Night Ops, but it's Strong Tide clear to the wire, and now he's 2.5 in front. My Sixth Sense second. Trident Hit third. Strong Tide, yes. Strong Tide won by 2 1/4. My Sixth Sense was second. Trident Hit third. Night Ops finished fourth.
Disappointing effort today from Night Ops, the heavy favorite. It's Strong Tide. He's done more of his damage over the course of his career on turf, but now he picks up the 4th win of his career on dirt.
Always in good position under Giovanni Franco, handled by our colleague Gary Stevens. Another win for him on the day, and I was teasing. I was on a call with Gary, and he put me on speaker, and he had Tiago Pereira, his other rider, and Giovanni Franco there. And I was teasing with them. I said, you guys didn't want any part of me from the 8th pole of the wire. Well, watching him finish there, maybe I don't want any part of him from the 8th pole of the wire. Very strong ride by Giovanni Franco.
It's going to feel good, no question. And for the home team, well done, Gary Stevens. Giovanni Franco, 5-year-old son of English Channel, an English Channel on the dirt.
Kept running, was always in good position though, and again you could see about leaving the 3/8 pole, this horse was going to have a big say in the outcome, and again a good strong finish from Giovanni Franco. All's good riders need are opportunities, and if Gary Stevens keeps getting his 2 riders these kind of opportunities, they will have terrific meets at Oaklawn.
A good field he beats too. I mean, and there's a lot of meat left here at Oaklawn for him.
Absolutely. You know, the other story out of this is Night Ops. He really just was flat, didn't show anything, and maybe at the age of 6, Night Ops has just lost a step or lost a little bit of interest because he didn't even show any speed. Broke clean, just did not get involved.
A disappointing performance from him in this feature today. But Strong Tide, 5-year-old. Think English Channel, you usually think turf. This guy proven he's adept on dirt as well for trainer Michael Lauer. Prices will set up the Nightcap when we come back.
I'm very bullish on it.
Tom's Dayta's got a 4-length lead at the 16th pole. Tom's Dayta has conquered the Clark.
Your best horses of the last 10 or 15 years are not consistently as fast as this horse.
It's total domination for Tom's Dayta.
He's a beautifully balanced horse and a really good mover, and he's just full of class.
Hello, you've reached the offices of West Point Thoroughbreds. Please leave your name and your number, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, starting to move now. He's 4th. He's on the outside now. He's pressing him now. There's the 1, the 7, and the 6. He's on the lead. There's another horse on the inside of him. He's pulling away. He's going to win this race. Oh! Oh!
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us on FS1. Our program brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Get signed up, started. Go to nairabets.com. You can download the app as well and punch in that promo code bonus200 to get signed up and started. Feature race on this Sunday card in Hot Springs. Strong Tide comes up with the goods for the 8th win of his career.
Yeah, always in good position, stalking from the outside, set down, turn it for home, and he just outruns the 6, my 6 cents. Who got everything pretty comfortable. Late second for a while, took the lead, just came up second best, but a good-looking performance from Strong Tide and a strong ride from Giovanni Franco.
4th win in his career on dirt. After this performance, we'll see. Off track. See if they keep going on the path to some of these other stakes races on the main track.
Well, the way he ran today, he definitely earned a chance to try it. And I mean, he beat a good group here, did work out a good trip. Was it the mud? I don't know. I just thought it was a very strong performance, though.
$37 winner in the feature. And again, the Nightcap coming up next. Close out the card with a maiden special weight. Everyone looking for that first win on the resume. 6 furlong sprint to close out the card and go west for Brett Calhoun. 4-year-old looking to break his maiden. He was off for just over a year. He came back and just missed. Ran a huge effort, the best figure of his career back on December 11th. Missed by a neck. Can he break through today? Career start number 5. More on the finale when we return right after this on America's Day at the Races.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus buyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. We have had an interesting weekend here on this circuit in New York. Feature on Saturday was a Safe Florida Sandy, and it was being hyped as the big rematch, and it lived up to the billing between My Boy Tate and Lobster. Lobster really asserting himself in the race of his career with that upset score. In the rematch, hard to say My Boy Tate wasn't best, but he got taken down via disqualification. Lobster put up for the win.
Well, I think My Boy Tate was best. I think Lobster also proved that his last effort wasn't a fluke. My Boy Tate caught in a little bit of a tough situation here, chose to split horses, has Chestertown right to his inside. Not a tremendous amount of room when he started there. They get buffeted about. The horse in the middle has to steady out there. Now, at this point, I know people are going to contend that the horse outside of My Boy Tate herded him into Chestertown. That was the 3 horse. But at the point of when Chestertown was impeded, there's slight separation. We're going to watch the head on it, keep an eye on him. Now, listen, there's contact. Did the 3 contribute to the crowding? Absolutely. But now as they come together, right there when he hits right-handed Eric Cancel, there's space between him. Not a lot, but there's empty space. You could see they're not touching. He hits right-handed and he came over and he took Chestertown's ground. Now, if you're going to split horses and put yourself in a position where you have another rider inside of you, you have an onus, a responsibility to make sure you keep a little room for him. He has finite amount of space. He has the rail to contend with. So right here, don't go right-handed. Keep your horse's head cocked out onto that horse. And that's the point where you see the separation, that's where Chestertown takes up. So to me, I understand why they took it down. I do think you can make a case that the 3 horse should have come down as well. But as the rider making that move, you have to make sure that you're responsible for the guy inside of you because he only has so much room to work with. Again, watch it. Absolutely, the 3 contributes to crowding. But at the point when Chestertown has to steady and he puts Jose Lezcano in a dangerous spot, a dangerous situation there, it was more a function of the 5, My Boy Tate, coming over and taking his ground. My Boy Tate was the best horse.
There's no question.
And I can understand the frustration from people that wagered on him and the connections. But as a rider, you know when you go to those spots, you have a responsibility to the guy inside of you. You're the only one that can have any control of trying to help that situation.
So as a result of that, and there's the spoils to Javier Castellano. Got very lucky, just stayed outside, and it worked out for him with Lobster getting the win again. So I'd love to see these 2 match up again and both have a fair shot at it with any controversy, without any controversy.
Well, I think yesterday on the day, My Boy Tate was the best horse. Circumstances, he got taken down. You understand it. Lobster, though, proved that his last race was no fluke.
Yeah.
And he's a horse that has definitely improved for trainer Gary Siaka. And his owner, they gave him the time he needed. They're rewarded with a horse that's in very good form. And I think this is a very fun division. And I'm with you. You just like to see races, decided on their own merits, not in the steward stand. Somebody very much smarter than me when I was a kid told me 2 rooms you want to stay out of, the operating room and the courtroom, because you never know which way it's going to go. We'll throw the steward's room in there as well.
Yeah, essentially the courtroom for riders.
Yeah.
And look, give props to, even though he got taken down, but at 8 years old, and the job Michelle Nevin has done with My Boy Tate, he's been impressive.
Oh, fantastic. Michelle's done a great job with him, and I'm a big fan of the horse. I just felt watching it for the reasons I stated there, and you could see at the point that the Chestertown was impeded, I think the onus was more on Eric Cancel on My Boy Tate at that point. Yes, he did get crowded and herded by the 3 horse. I wouldn't dispute if someone thought he should have come down. But at the point of impediment, I think it was more on him.
Yeah, tough spot, too, for Eric Cancel. He was filling in for Manny Franco, who was out because of COVID regulations. He'd had issues earlier in the week. We saw him obviously come back today, but that's a tough spot there for Cancel. Meanwhile, the feature earlier today, that was the Rego Park. Freshly turned 3-year-olds. And G. Munning, the story coming into the race. Coming out of the race, the story was Barise for Mike Maker, who debuted back in May. Had not seen him since. This was his 3-year-old debut, and he was impressive.
He was very impressive. Big, long-striding son of Lauban. Broke his maiden on debut at 5 furlongs, but certainly looks like he'll appreciate more and more distance. The 6.5 suited well. He was out a little bit wide, but he came with those big, long stride to run down Agility, who, was very good coming off of his maiden breaking effort. So I thought this was a very impressive effort by Barise. And I got to tell you, I like when they name races for particularly little towns and places around here. Rego Park, some of the notable residents over the years, Sid Caesar, Gypsy Rose Lee. Come on, we got to get with it here.
Got from a native New Yorker right here who grew up at this racetrack. Barise, too, we heard from Dylan Davis, and he thinks this horse longer might even be better.
Well, look at his stride coming through the wire. His stride is not deteriorating. Some horses win, and they win by open lengths, but their stride isn't as strong as it was. He finished with his legs underneath him. I thought this was an impressive effort for a New York bred that could have bigger things in his future, particularly as the distances continue to stretch out.
Well, a feature on Saturday out at Oaklawn in Hot Springs. It was for fillies and mares, 2-turn mile, and Miss Bigley, Coach, they were the two big fillies going in, and in the end, Gary, it was Coach who looked very impressive. Now 2 for 2 off the bench for Brad Cox.
Yeah, she did not disappoint yesterday. Went straight to the lead, which I didn't expect to see her on the lead. When she won going a mile and a 16th, the race in her last race, she set just off of the pace and made her move about the 3/8 pull. Yesterday, Santana chose to put her on the lead, and I was a little dismayed, but she did it easily, and he floated out to the middle of the racetrack. Another filly joined up with her at the 3/8 pole. Looked like she was going to be in for a battle, and she just powered away from him into the lane at the shorter distance of the mile. We've got that short run to the first finish line when they're going to flat mile here at Oaklawn Park, and she loved the going yesterday on the sloppy racetrack and just liked everything about the trip that she got and Santana gave her, guys.
And aggressive tactics from Ricardo Santana Jr. They pay off. Helped a little bit too. W.W. Fitzy and David Cohn didn't break all that sharp, but it worked out to be aggressive in that race. And actually got headed at one point and still was able to find more.
There's so many things that I like about Ricardo Santana, Jr. as a rider. He has so many strengths. Every rider has strengths and weaknesses. One of Ricardo's gifts, one of his strengths, is his physical strength, the way he finishes on a horse. He can pick a horse up, put the bit in their mouth, and get more out of them. He's got as good a hand ride as you're going to see. I mean, just an impressive rider on so many levels, and he's having a terrific Oaklawn Park meeting without full support of Steve Asmussen, who'd been his main guy for years, but he is riding for Steve, and that's a good thing. He's got his foot back in the door. You want to ride for a horseman as accomplished as Steve Asmussen, a Hall of Famer who's going to win better than 400, maybe up to 500 races a year. You want to be in that barn. So it's good to see he has his foot back in the door. He rides a first-time starter here in the last race at Oaklawn for him. But the fact that he and his agent, Ruben, are just having such a good meet without that 100% backing.
Yeah, it used to be every time Asmussen had a horse in the race, he'd be on that number one Steve Asmussen runner. 8 straight years Santana Jr. has won this meet at Oaklawn, and despite the full support of the winningest trainer in North America, he's still right there with a big chance to make it 9 straight years. We'll see him on tax at a first-time starter for, as you mentioned, Steve Asmussen. Coming up in this finale, first-time starter, son of Constitution. We'll be back. The Nightcap is next from Hot Springs.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, ranked #1 by percentage of stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. No stallion has a better strike rate. Recent top runners include Group 1 winner Homesman, graded stakes winners Master of Foxhounds, Ancient Rome, and Bombard. Plus Annapolis, who became his sire's 100th stakes winner. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. This race will close it out for us, and the finale here at Oaklawn, maiden special weight 6 furlong sprint. Here's Best Bet.
The horse that took some money on debut, makes first start for Brad Cox, and puts his main man, Florent Giroux, aboard, taking some money again.
Blinkers go on for start number 2. Here's Strato Fortress, Jerry Hollendorfer.
Jerry Hollendorfer gets Giovanni Franco. Horse has some speed. So Giovanni Franco is capable of doing in the last race.
Indeed. Alex Conchari will be on pregame, rider change.
Yeah, a horse that now has been on the turf last couple of starts, gets back to dirt. Have a hard time getting a feel for his form. Sometimes he has speed, sometimes he doesn't.
Go West. He came back off over a year's layoff, and he ran the race of his life. He just missed by a neck.
Yeah, ran really big first time in the Brett Calhoun barn. Does he go forward off of that race, or does that race take a little something out of him?
First-time starter here, Benedictus, 5-year-old debuting.
Yeah, and we always look for the board to help us with these firsters, not taking a lot of money.
Tax it. Steve Asmussen, first-time out, son of Constitution, with Ricardo Santana Jr.
Yeah, out of a stakes-winning mare, Harlan's Destiny, that was trained by Wayne Catalano, ridden by his son-in-law, Channing Hill, taking money.
Cronus, been going longer. In fact, last time he was on turf going longer.
He doesn't have much speed going long. Is he going to get really outfooted here early?
Well, the favorite for Brett Calhoun, his stablemate in here, and a horse who took money first time out.
Well, this horse didn't break particularly well. Kind of rushed into the teeth of the pace, got within calling distance of the lead, and then faltered a bit.
John Court, League of Legends for Jinx Fires.
I think it's so appropriate that John Court rides League of Legends, the ageless John Court who continues to win races.
61 years old. We saw him just win the other day as well. Uncle Burley for Steve Asmussen on the outside. Son of Uncle Mo, debuting with David Cohen.
Yeah, the Grand Dam Game Face was a Grade 1 winner sprinting on dirt for trainer Todd Pletcher. So if he gets any of his Grand Dam's ability, be interesting.
Minute to post coming up. Best Bet on the inside, moving to the Brad Cox barn. That's always going to attract attention. Let's go to Gary for more.
Yeah, Best Bet had his first start at Monmouth Park early last summer, and wasn't bet a lot. He was bet down to 9-2, but for a Gary and Mary West horse, that's kind of a higher price. But getting blinkers on today for the first time, is that to show more speed, show more focus? He showed good speed in his first time out. He was only a length off the lead. Florent Giroux is usually very aggressive leaving there with the young horses, so he is getting the blinkers, but he's got speed to his outside. The first time Asmussen's usually have speed. They're always well schooled in the starting gate. So look for Florent to come away from there pretty aggressive, try and secure a good position, but not necessarily on the lead, guys.
All right, Gary, thank you. 9-2 on Best Bet. Let's get Jonathan's perspective here on this nightcap. JK.
Yeah, this is a tricky situation where you have the Brad Cox runner who's 9-2, first time out. And Kelly Breen's not a guy I'm cutting in line to play horses leaving his barn. I think Kelly does a great job. And so when you see Brad picking up this horse, there's the assumption the horse could move forward. But there's also the assumption the horse could just move forward off of a second career start. Look, I think Best Bet can run well, adds the blinkers from the inside, which tells me that Brad's trying to fix something. We've heard that with Tom Amos when he's on our show before. When there's an equipment change, it's typically to resolve an issue. So when a horse makes a debut and at a short price and then now puts on the blinkers, you have to wonder what it's trying to accomplish. And if he wants him to be a little bit more focused, to kind of run through gaps and things of that nature, being done on the inside is a little bit of a concern. I do think he makes a little sense at 4-1, but you could also look at it conversely that it's a problem that he's that price. The 5, Go West. This horse has experience. has run 4 times and ran fast last time. It's hard to get away from that. There is a lot of first-time starters. These are young, lightly raced horses that could take those steps forward that you don't quite see all the time. But, you know, look, if this horse goes off at 3-1, I presume probably a little bit shorter. I think it's a fair price based on what we've seen Go West do on the racetrack. I'm going to ultimately go with the 5 Go West. I'm a speed figure person. I know what this horse has done, and if he duplicates that performance, they're all running for second. And at very similar prices between the 5 and the 1, I'll say it one more time, give me the 5 at similar prices over the 1.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. And you look at what the 5 did last time out. We mentioned he ran the best race of his life off a year's layoff. 84 buyer. If he can improve just a little bit off that, the dangers the other first-time starters, and maybe that Brad Cox runner as well, but to get one of these other horses, to expect them to run a number in the high 80s, speed figure-wise, that would take some kind of effort. Now, having said that, you and I were just looking off screen at the favorite's stablemate, and he has made a very favorable impression on the racetrack, and he's taken money as well. The 9 Victory March at 7-2.
Yeah, this is a horse that I thought had a real trip first time, too. He didn't break particularly well. He rushed up. He took some money. He went off just slightly over 4-1 that time. So it kind of points out that he had shown ability in his training in the mornings. If he gets away clean, I think this horse is going to be very, very tough to beat. I mean, he has his stablemate, the 5 Go West, who ran that fast. I'm always of a concern when a horse runs so big off the bench. Does it tear them down a little bit? Or do they go forward off of it? And it's been my experience that sometimes they regress a bit off of a big effort, particularly off a layoff.
Let's see, he's had nearly a month since that start, about 28 days to come back. And it was a big move forward, certainly for him. He was well clear, 5 lengths plus in front of the 2, Strato Fortress, who got a 72 buyer in there.
No, strong race, can't deny it, no doubt. I just thought that the 9 was a bit more interesting, and then watching him warm up, he kind of pushed me over the edge.
I'm with you. He looked fantastic on the racetrack. Obviously, the other dangers are the 1 best bet, moving to the Brad Cox barn. There's the 9 again. The 7 and the 11, both first-time starters for the winningest trainer in our sport, Steve Asmussen. And the 7 right now, 5-1, the 11, 9-1. Usually the tell, it always used to be anyway, where Ricardo Santana Jr. was, and he's on the 7.
Well, I just like to see Ricardo riding for Steve and the Winchell family. They've had so much success together in the past. And the 7 Taxit is the lone non-Kentucky bred in the race. It's actually a West Virginia bred by constitution.
So we'll see how this finale plays out. Pre-game, the 3 stepping in, but it's Go West, the 5 for Brett Calhoun, the 1 to beat. Even if he doesn't move forward off what he did last time out, if he can just repeat it, and there he is moving in, that might be good enough to win here. Can he do it, though? That's the big question. Vic Stauffer with the Nightcap to close out this card from Oaklawn.
2 more now, Benedictus and Uncle Burley. They're at the post. They're off. League of Legends broke well. So did Taxit and Uncle Burley. Best bets on the move at the rail. And here's your early leader is Best Bet. Strato Fortress is next, then Go West, Victory March, Benedictus, and Pregame, and the trailer is Cronus. The son of Uncle Mo, Best Bet is strong into the far turn. He leads by a length and a half from Strato Fortress, and outside of him, League of Legends. Then it's a length and a half further back to Uncle Burley with Taxit at the rail. Victory March has 5 lengths to make up, 2 in front of Go West. Then comes Pregame. Cronus is second to last, and the trailer is still Benedictus, and the leader is still Best Bet. Best Bet at the quarter pole, a length in front of Strato Fortress in second. League of Legends is third. Victory March and Taxis together fourth and fifth. Best Bet drifts off the rail, and now Strato Fortress is right alongside, and League of Legends in the center's running a big one. So Strato Fortress and League of Legends, these two will match strides. A late charge from Go West up into third. Strato Fortress inside. League of Legends outside. League of Legends half ahead. Strato Fortress. Late charge inside. Victory March. League of Legends. League of Legends beats Strato Fortress. Close for third between Go West and stablemate Victory March.
I hate to keep doing this to him, but 61 years young, John Court does it again. League of Legends for Jinx Fire's 7th time out. This horse breaks his maiden.
I absolutely love it. I mean, you see riders, they hit a certain age and their skills start to erode. They just don't have the same physicality. I don't see it with John Court. There are no erosions of his skill. If anything, he's riding as well as he ever did. The ageless wonder, John Court.
And having fun doing it, too. I mean, we've seen him in interviews after he wins races, and he's just really enjoying himself.
It's fantastic, and I'm a fan.
League of Legends close out the action on this Sunday card from Oaklawn. Thanks, everyone, for being with us on this Sunday afternoon. We're back next Friday beginning at 2 Eastern time. That'll be on FS2. We hope to see you then. Coming up next on FS1, it's NASCAR Auto Racing Classics, the 1988 Checker 500. It was Baris off the layoff, dating back to May, winning the Rego Park, the Sunday feature at Aqueduct. Sarah Harper for Ron Moquette back in the winner's circle. She's won 3 of her last 4. Now about Strong Tide. Pedigree for the grass, but looking impressive on the off-going. We'll see you next week.